Welcome back, Block family, to the Block. This is the Tough Block Podcast. I'm your host, DJ. Got my Uso here with me.
Monix, what's good?
We just got done with our episode here with the very first Atos teammate of Monix. Season 1, we had a lot of his teammates, great stories. But I think Monix would agree with me. This definitely does take the cake for sure.
Big time.
Yeah,
Big time.
Man. Shout out to Ryan, the real Captain America. Make sure you tap in with this podcast. It's probably going to be running about just about 2 hours worth for his podcast, for his episode alone.
And he has such an enriched story, man. Like, we didn't even get to cover everything.
There's so much I wanted to jump into too. It's just I knew we didn't have time, but it still was such a great podcast, man. Great vibes. You could tell he's a great coach. You could tell he's a fierce competitor, but like I said, man, he's full of passion, and you'll read that right off the bat with him, man.
Overall, great human being.
1000%. Before we do jump into that, let's we wanted to talk about a couple other things, some hot topics and current events. But first, Monix, it's been getting a little hot lately, hasn't it?
Bro, they say this.
Today hit 94, I believe.
They said it's about to be 100 this weekend.
And if you out there in this dry-ass desert and you not keeping yourself hydrated, make sure you go and pick up a Flow bottle.
Yes.
Shout out to Flow Bottle, sponsor of the Tough Block Podcast. One of probably the only hydro flasks out there on the market that you could keep your little goodies in. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They got a little storage compartment on the bottom, but still one of the best products on the market for sure.
Absolutely. Help. A bunch of different colors, man. All the cool colors. And I know, actually, I'll keep that off air. He has some ideas about new colors coming out.
Yeah, that's right.
Going to be awesome.
1000%.
But, yeah, go get yourself a Flow bottle. I believe it's flowbottle.com. We'll link it. And their Instagram page as well.
Yeah, I believe it's just flowbottle_.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
make sure you tap in with them, man. I'm telling you, you are not going to regret it. And some of them colors be popping.
Fire.
So first things first, there's been a lot of things that's been happening around the valley. But if you know me and my brother, man, we from the east side of Vegas. And have you seen the most east side of shit that's been going on, that's happened in the past couple weeks?
Just like that boyfriend shot the girl.
Yeah, man, that was a terrible one, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much into it because not all the details have been dropped. One of the Usos is actually really, really close to the girl, man. Much respect, condolences to her and her family. But to keep this thing more lighthearted than more dim. You hear, so on the east side of town, which that's how you know. I feel like on the east side they don't call every school by the full name.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what Robinson Middle School is?
They had more than just that?
That's exactly what I said. I had no idea this school was called Robinson. It's Del H.
Oh yeah, Del H.
Yeah, so it's Del H Robinson.
Oh yeah,
I only know.
No, you know it's called Robinson though, right?
Robinson?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. They keep saying it on the news, but I only know it as Del H.
Yeah, it's Robinson.
Oh, that's hilarious. But on the news over at Del H, there was a father for a 35-year-old man that got out of his car and jumped into a middle school fight because his son was in the fight. I don't know all the details, but my man had turned himself in the next day. But like, there's been super big controversy about obviously a grown man jumping into a fight. But this is my thing, okay? And you know, as a father, if you see your son getting jumped.
Oh, he was getting jumped?
I don't know, because they
that's
just
a different story.
They just said it's a fight, and that's my only thought process is if I'm a father, that's the only way I jump in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I start swinging at a middle school kid is if my kid's getting jumped. Because if he's not, bro, like,
if his head up,
what are you doing? No, it was a bunch of kids.
Yeah,
it was a bunch of kids.
If it's getting jumped, then yeah, I'm jumping in.
Yeah.
If it's head up, only time I'm jumping is if it's like, all right, he had enough, bro.
Yeah,
he had enough.
Yeah, and then that's it. There's no hands throwing, no nothing. But when I saw that shit, I was like, God damn, if that's not the most East Sided shit I've ever seen,
I didn't
bro.
see that.
Yeah, that happened a couple weeks ago. Shout out to that dad though. He turned himself in the next day. Don't do that shit, man. Don't be going to your kids and getting into this middle school problems, dog. You don't want them problems.
Yeah, you think you're saving your son. Next thing you know, you eating bologna sandwiches behind, behind bars.
But with that being said, dog, and that's kind of the thing about being a man is there's a certain level of softness that you gotta have when it comes to dealing with certain situations, especially when it does come to your son. That would be my soft spot. If I do see my son getting jumped, I'm gonna jump in there. But like you said, if he's gonna head up, it is what it is. You gotta let him eat. But do you think that he's setting a good example for his son to become more soft? Because if he thinks that his daddy gonna jump into there, then his daddy's gonna always save him. But do you think that he's enabling him that way?
He could be, but he also couldn't be teaching him the Toretto way, where you don't mess with family.
That part. What are you doing? Well, I mean, for you at home and being now in fatherhood, what are you doing at home to balance that with your son? With mine, I talk about it all the time. He wants to be a fighter. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This fool, all he does is want to fight, and that's one thing that I don't want to air my son's shit out there like that. But he's been getting in trouble at school lately. Because with me, when we play, we play fight. Like, this dude would legit just walk right up to me. We could be in the middle of the store. He'll walk right up to me, full blown haymaker right to the gut. But he's a little kid. It don't really feel much. But he's doing that to his homies at school. Yeah. So for me, I learned that I need to balance more of the softness with him, so it doesn't have that. How are you handling that softness with your son? Or have you even gotten that point with Kyron yet?
I haven't fully got to that point. I mean, there's situations, he comes to jiu-jitsu and there's a kid overpowering him, or he's in the playground, there's a kid that's bullying him and being, stuff like that. And I've gotten into those situations, but my boy, man, he's such a soft-hearted kid.
Yeah,
bro. He's
man. He is.
He's gonna be an artist.
But he's also observant. That's one thing. That's one thing that I've seen with him is this fool will sit back and observe and check everybody out, man.
He's like me, man. If you don't know him like that, you won't see the real him.
Yeah, for sure, 1000%. Let me see. Well, I mean, we let's move on past the whole East Side thing. I do want to talk on, because we're big movie buffs on the block. Especially when it comes to men problems. Have you been keeping up with the Jonathan Majors allegations?
Oh yes, I have.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on it? I feel like I took it a little personal, because I feel like there's been too many stories, especially with our generation growing up, where you hear the Brian Banks story, where somebody else took somebody's livelihood away from them by false accusations.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
See, I've been trying to keep a cool, level-headed opinion this whole time, because you really don't know until the truth really comes out, if it ever does.
For sure.
But I'm on the side of caution of innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
So there's a lot of evidence that's been coming out against her now, because it was going hard that all of his companies were dropping him.
Yes.
And that was a big sign, like, oh, he must have really did some shit.
Yeah.
But then more evidence came out about her, partying right after the incident happened, using her hand that was broken.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff, and I just hope the best for both, man. I hope it didn't really happen, and I hope that she's not trying to bury him.
And see, that's the thing too, is I haven't followed the story too closely, but closely enough where I do know that she did apologize. She's been putting it all over social media and trying to spread it to as many people as she
Defending
can. Defending him. But now there's been allegations that there's been more women coming out from his past that are saying this as well. And that's the touch and go of it. It's like, from his past, a lot of these people could have stepped up before if it is true,
Yeah.
especially with the whole Me Too movement going all crazy. Like that would have been the perfect time. It really seems like they're targeting him, but how do you know?
All of that to me is, again, I don't want to disprove anybody's real feelings if something did actually happen, but
Yeah,
it's all hearsay.
yeah,
The thing that really intrigued me in this story is now that him and his lawyer have came out and said something about there's proof now from the Uber driver or something like that that the cops were coaching her outside of the car.
wow. See, I didn't hear that part.
And that's where it's like, oh shit, somebody's trying to bury this fool.
Yeah, bro. And see, that's the thing that sucks too. Like, just as a movie going fan, he was amazing at Creed. He's already done amazing in the MCU, and
I love Lovecraft Country, man.
It'd be tough. Damn, I don't even know that one, but
It's
it'd be
like his
tough.
main thing he got popping for on
Oh,
HBO.
really?
Got canceled after one season when a show was amazing.
That's tough.
And he got casted from Ant-Man, as a Kang right after that.
Wow. I saw I forgot what movie it's called. It's one of his recent ones, but it's kind of based on a true story type of movie, but the Aviator story.
Yeah.
And he did amazing in that too. But could you see the MCU recasting that role without Jonathan Majors?
It would be tough, man. It would be really tough because it just happened. You know, it was like making a whole pivot from T'Challa.
Yeah.
Like it just happened. But the guy they are saying that's rumored to take over, I really, really like as well. So it's, man.
Who's rumored to take over that?
I forget. It's Idris something is his name, but
If you say Elba, bro.
no, not Idris Elba. It's the dude for the main character from Snowfall, which is like the popular show right now.
Yeah. Anyways, I hope it just doesn't happen. I hope Jonathan Majors is able to keep his role, man. He's already done amazing work.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Loki too, man. I'm excited to see Loki too, and he's supposed to have a bigger role in that as well. So. Big ups to Jonathan Majors. Like you said, everybody's innocent until proven guilty. I just hope everything ends up in the right way it's supposed to.
Yeah. And if he did do it, fuck him.
Yeah, honestly.
You know what I'm saying?
If he did do it, man, yeah. He could get the fuck up out of here.
Fuck him.
With other local news, Oakland A's have officially been reported that they are finally going to make that move here to Las Vegas. 2024 or 2025 they're targeting. They're asking for $500 million though of public assistance, bro. And in all honesty, bro, I wish I had their confidence. I wish I had their confidence to ask the public, let me borrow $500 million.
Oh man,
get this shit done.
These hotel people gonna be like, all right.
And that's the terrible thing about it is like, that's fine. You could bring whoever you want to. I mean, you're already bringing fucking the Raiders, the A's. Might as well bring in the fucking Warriors. But fix this goddamn traffic, bro.
It ain't gonna get fixed. It's just gonna get worse, bro.
I can't stand. Look, I gotta tell y'all, I can't stand y'all. Any of y'all at home. If you drive on these freeways, I can't fucking stand y'all. Vegas has the worst goddamn drivers. That was loud on purpose. The worst goddamn drivers, dog. I can't stand it. Y'all need to learn how to merge. We be on that 215 for 15, 20 minutes longer because y'all don't know how to merge. Get that shit right.
Yeah, and it's just that after work zombie mode, bro, and you see them people in it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you look at them and like, are you even here right now? That's the main thing. Like, are you conscious?
Like, bro, do you have anywhere to be? Because I do. And I need you to move your ass. They not moving.
They thinking about what they saw on TikTok or some shit, bro. They ain't in the actual drive.
Well, that being said, now that we've already have taken two of Oakland's professional sports teams, when do you think Vegas gets an NBA team? It's been teased that they want to do an expansion on the league, and Las Vegas has been the target, Seattle has been the target, and a couple other cities. Do you think we get an NBA team, and do you think that it's another refranchising out here, or we build a brand new team?
I think we need to build a brand new team. I think the NBA coming out here is going to happen when LeBron James retires.
You think so?
Yeah, he's already said he wants to get stake in a team out here in Las Vegas. So I think it will definitely happen whenever he retires, but not in the next 5 years.
Ooh, you think that he gonna be playing for 5 more years?
I mean, he's gonna play at least 2 with Bronny, right?
Yeah, I think so. And do you think wherever Bronny goes, he goes? Or you think that he's ready to
Oh
lace it
yeah,
up against his son?
wherever Bronny goes, he goes.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I would love to see it, man.
you know what's funny? Like, not to say shit on Bronny, because Bronny's actually a good basketball player, but
He's fire, bro.
Yeah.
He's fire.
But on the same hand, he thinks his team's like, we don't even think Bronny's that high for us to draft him as the first pick. But if it comes with LeBron James, yeah, I'll take him.
Honestly, and he's not slowing down. Like, LeBron looks amazing. That being said, I want to jump right back into the MCU real quick. Have you heard any of the Fantastic Four news?
No, but they're saying the rumor is at the end of Guardians, right?
I don't know. I don't know about anything about like there being a scene or
They're saying it's supposed to be Silver Surfer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't hear that rumor. But it has been official that Adam Driver is now in talks to take over the Reed Richards roles.
No.
What do you think? I mean, you're a Star Wars fan. I don't fuck with Star Wars like that.
I love Adam
like that.
Driver too.
Do you?
Not Mr. Fantastic.
I know. I mean, I've seen him in some roles where he's like the technical dude, and he's like more emotionally scarred. And that's kind of what Reed Richards is a little bit, but still, I don't see him as Reed, bro. I was really hoping for
Nerd.
a nerd, but still, I was still hoping for John Krasinski, bro.
Oh, bro.
You were not.
I was so happy that they casted him in what was that movie?
In Doctor Strange.
In Doctor Strange, man. I was so happy.
Why?
Because when they did it, I knew he's not gonna be Reed Richards.
Oh yeah, I wanted him to be Reed Richards so bad, bro.
I hated the fan cast, him and Emily Blunt.
Really? Why?
God, really? You want to make them, bro?
Why not, bro?
He does not fit. He's too charismatic for Reed Richards.
Reed is charismatic, though.
No, Reed is a fucking Sheldon, bro. We needed a fucking.
Not when he comes into the Illuminati. When he comes
Not when
into the Illuminati.
but he needs to go through all that shit to get the confidence to be that Reed Richards.
But see, what I had anticipated was that because they've already said that in the Doctor Strange, where he said that he was Reed Richards, and then Doctor Strange said, "Didn't you guys phase out in the '60s?" So I had assumed that they're gonna go with the older Reed, someone that's already been in the role, who's already past that Sheldon stage, that's already in the Illuminati stage now. And I thought
there's too many rich Fantastic Four stories they have to tell.
But I feel like they've already gone past it because they've already done a lot of these Avengers so heavy. Like, his relationship with Tony Stark is one of the best storylines in Civil War.
The real Science Brothers.
Yeah, the real Science
Bros.
Not
the MCU Hulk and Iron Man.
And I thought because they already killed off Tony Stark, why reverse and then start Reed brand new? I thought it would have been more of a brilliant move, since they already mentioned it in the Doctor Strange movie, that if they were to supposedly been in the negative zone this whole time, but then happen to come out right now from the 60s to now, I would have been cool with it. I would have been down with it.
I love Fantastic Four too much for them to just skip. I want to see. Everybody hates origins. I want to see an origin. I want to see an MCU version of them.
Because we got Spider-Man with that origin, I'm okay not seeing a Fantastic Four origin. Like, if they reference it and show like little like backstory clips and fine, shit,
but
I'm cool with that.
It can't be a already proven Fantastic Four.
No,
like, to me, it has to be, if you're gonna skip the origin, it has to be them just being superheroes now, and then you find out, like, by flashbacks or whatever, how they got to that, and then move their story from there.
Yeah,
you can't skip, bro.
They fucked up the story twice at Fox. Yes, it is the MCU, so it is going to be different. But because y'all fucked it up so many times, I don't want to see it.
And
I don't care to see
it's so hard to see all these big storylines without Doctor Doom.
Oh my god. It's the worst, bro. That's the one that I want them to fucking nail. And there were some rumors on who they were going to cast for Doctor Doom. But there are some people who are already debuffing it, so I didn't add it into this one. But I would have been interested. I can't remember. That's who I would have loved to be.
You know, Adam Driver.
Yes.
Could have been Doctor Doom.
That's who I would have loved to be Doctor Doom.
Yes.
Was Adam Driver.
Absolutely.
I feel like he would have been perfect because he has that perfect assholeness, that narcissism about him, where he would have been a perfect Doctor Doom. But,
absolutely.
you know, it is what it is. MCU, they hold all the fucking cards to this shit. So we'll see, man. We'll see. There's also been some news about Mahershala Ali already causing problems with the Blade project.
Oh, God.
He's been kind of busting a Wesley Snipes, if you will. He's been trying to change a lot of the storyline and this, that, the other.
To not follow the comics?
Well, I don't know if he's following the comics or if he has a preferred storyline and they're going with a different one, or I don't know all the dynamics, but there has been rumors that he has been bumping heads with a lot of the writers.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so we might not even see Blade before it even fucking comes out, unfortunately.
And I'll be real, I know it was a fad, but I've never been a Blade fan, ever.
Oh man, bro. The old Blades, bro. The first Blade, I loved, bro.
I know you did.
And shout out to Uncle Sid. He was in there for like 15 seconds, but I loved Blade, bro.
I hated the comic.
The whole dance sequence in the beginning, and there's all blood, and then this motherfucker slicing people in, bro. To start out the whole Marvel universe that way, bro, epic. I was not a fan of Blade Trinity though when they had Triple H. That shit was retarded.
They had Deadpool.
Yeah, they had Deadpool in that motherfucker. Yeah, that's pretty much it from
MCU.
Well, just overall news. You got anything that you want to touch up on?
I do. One that's very viral. What do you feel about all this AI music, bro?
What do you mean?
Like, I know artists and music.
See, I might be behind because I don't know what you mean by this AI music.
Artists and music people like are really, really trying to crack down on this, so they're ripping them down as fast as they come up. But, bro, this, I hate to say it, but it's awesome.
What do you mean?
It's awesome. Like, I'm gonna cut this part out. I'm gonna cut this part out of the podcast so we don't get sued. But I mean, just for example, bro, they got.
So what's the whole broad story of AI music? Like, what's the purpose of it?
They can take any song,
Mm-hmm.
period. Like, think of a song, any song, name it.
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, let's do, Return of the Mac.
They can do Return of the Mac, and make Drake sing it.
Ah.
And it sounds like.
Well, I mean I mean, honestly, that would be the next
slap.
step. That would be the next step.
All right, I'm gonna cut this off. I'm gonna cut this out. But listen to this. They made Drake, and bro, it is fire.
This ain't Drake?
No. It shit slaps, bro.
It slaps. Oh my god.
Come on, bro. Bro, I gotta show you one more.
Bro, what? Bro, they're playing with fire right now, dog.
Bro.
Because I don't know if you've seen that too, but there's an app out there that people are trying to shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an AI generated app, and you could change your voice literally to
anyone.
anybody.
Yeah.
Man, that's dangerous.
Bro,
Hey, that's fire.
That's just
though,
fire.
dog.
Bro,
That's
they have him singing an Ice Spice song. Drake. Bro, listen to this. This is Rihanna covering Thames, bro. bro, and sings it better than Tim's, bro.
No,
Bro.
no,
Bro,
no,
bro.
no, bro. Tim's is she's my spirit animal.
I know,
no,
that's
bro.
Kaylee. Bro. Bro, Rihanna's tone is perfect for this song.
No, you're not about to do Tim's like this. You're not about to do Tim's like this. Turn that shit off. Why, bro? Oh my
That shit
god,
is fire, bro.
That shit is fire. And I fucking love Rihanna, bro. Like, she was my fucking first love.
Yeah,
bro.
she was.
Dead
Yeah,
ass. She was my first love. But no, bro. No, you're not gonna do that shit to Tim's, dog. What the?
So all these artists and labels are like going hard on making laws against this.
Yeah,
like
bro.
hard, bro.
They should, bro, because that's pirating.
It's pirating.
That is pirating.
It is.
But is it pirating or is it more beneficial to the artist?
Is it? I don't know, bro. It's and there's gonna be a lot of.
We're gonna have to ask Beach and Baymax. No,
Yeah. And there's a lot of sticky situations that is gonna come out of this, but a lot of good ones too.
Yeah, bro.
Like, bro, that drink is fire, bro.
I don't want to listen to that again, but I do. I don't, but I do.
I already know you about to go home and show Nene, bro. Like,
I am for sure, dog.
especially that Tim's one, bro.
Bro, Tim's is my fucking. That's my guardian angel, dog. You're not about to do Tim's like that, bro. That's oh my.
How you
God.
gonna outdo it on their own song,
Oh
bro?
my god. I mean, and that's the worst part is that there's a lot of artists that actually do that already in general.
Yeah.
And they don't even need the AI.
Mm-hmm.
But now you add AI to this shit. Honestly, bro. It's the best and worst thing of all time.
It is.
It's the best
It
and worst.
is.
Because if you can AI generate football games and you put all the best fucking players of the Hall of Fame all on one team, first, who wouldn't want to see that? Barry Sanders in his prime versus Ray Lewis in his prime. Who else? Adrian Peterson versus Dick Butkus. Or Dick Butkus played tight end, but Jack Lambert. Any of those, bro. I would love to see that. But it's wrong.
Like, you already see Bruce Willis did it. They're talking about The Rock is soon to do it. Yeah, Bruce Willis sold his rights. His likeliness. So now, from here on out, any movie you see with Bruce Willis in it is going to be AI.
No.
He sold his face likeliness.
Okay. So with Bruce Willis, I get it, but I don't. Because I feel like that's fucked up, bro. Because he's dealing with dementia. So how do you know he's even in his right mind to be selling his rights?
They're saying that he did it because he's obviously got like a year left. Which is so sad to hear.
But why would you want your career to live on without you?
Because he said he did. The only reason he did it was to let his kids, his grandkids, to continue to generate money for his family as he's gone.
But it's not him no more.
I know.
And with all your royalties that you make on the movies, dog, like Die Hard will forever be one of the greatest Christmas films of all time, dog. Even though it's technically not a Christmas film, but their family could eat off of that forever.
And they're talking about The Rock is next. Like, they're saying that.
Do you think The Rock does it?
He's supposedly close to doing it.
Please don't, bro.
They're saying that.
I get it, we're in the future and all this bullshit, bro, but there's some things you don't need to touch. This AI shit is making it very fucking dangerous.
Because they're saying media is going to be dead, bro. They're saying, like, literally you can think of any movie you want to think of, bro. Like, fucking
podcasts.
Fucking a Transformers movie where fucking The Rock is Optimus Prime, bro. Like, you can literally think of whatever you want to do and make it.
What the fuck is real anymore, bro?
Yeah, it's gonna kill the creativity of the artist.
Well, it just kills life, just in general. At the end of the day, you gotta be born and you gotta die. If that shit keeps continuing on, even if you're not here, then are you even a real person?
Yeah.
Now you're just
get into the Matrix.
Now you're just a fucking mascot, bro. Like, nah, bro. Once I'm out of here, bro, let me die. let me fucking rest in the heavens and fucking let my fucking property live the way it needs to live. If it doesn't even reach past this, like if this is as far as the Tub Block podcast goes, bro, let it fucking live like that, bro. Don't do that shit to me, bro. I would never want that. I really hope this is not a trend that we continue on as society, because it's stupid and it's bullshit, bro. Like, what's next? Fucking Terminator? Then we're all fucking out of here, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Like, you see all these robots. Have you seen some of these fucking robots, bro?
Yeah.
They're doing backflips. They're running like cheetahs.
Yeah.
Like, bro, why are y'all even doing this? Have y'all not seen a fucking scientific film, bro? Like, I don't get it, dog.
Yeah.
I'm not with it. I'm with advancement of anything of human nature. But let's go advance in space. Let's go advance in underwater. Or let's fucking rebuild this world so it's like a Wakanda, bro. Where we're still in like what we need to for our own tribalism, because at the end of the day, our culture is what really makes us. Our cultures. That's what makes life fucking great. Like, I love Chinatown because it's a whole different culture. They have a whole different flavor profile, a whole different way of living. I love visiting other places. If you jumble everything up in this fucking AI fucking world, bro, it's
gone.
It's a waste, bro. It's stupid.
It's crazy.
I really hope this is not a trend we stay on, bro.
This one is going like crazy, man. Everybody's talking about it. Anything you can
Crazy.
like that Drake and The Weeknd and that Drake and Ice Spice one is like the main ones that everybody's talking about.
As much shit as I'm talking, I'm still gonna listen to that song, but I don't want to.
I know, because if that Drake and Weeknd song dropped, bro, everybody would be playing it.
That's
bro.
gonna be in my gym fucking
Playlist.
playlist for real, dog. Cause that shit bumps.
That shit is fire, bro.
Fuck that Rihanna Thames one. I still really want to hear it, but I'm not going to because I'm loyal. To Thames.
Yeah, yes.
Motherfuckers. Let's see. You got anything else?
No, that's all I wanted to bring up.
That was a good one.
My guy.
That's a fucking good one. All right, so before we get out of here, you already know what it is, what time it is. It's Drop Top. So this week's Drop Top, well, I already wrote down my list of what I would put, but
then that means you got to go first. I can think of mine.
Well, I kind of want to go either two ways with this. You want to do arcade games, or do you want to do jam sesh songs?
I'm gonna let you choose, bro.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you choose.
Fuck it, we'll do arcade games. We've been talking about this for a minute. All right, so do you want to do rock bottom and drop top, or you just want to do drop top? Because it's kind of hard to do. Well, no. Rock bottom is kind of easy. Okay, fine. Let's start with rock bottom because we always do it.
Okay.
All right, so the 3 worst arcade games of all time. We'll start with number 3, the bottom. So I put 3 different ones. Okay, so this one's more for them old heads. If you grew up in an arcade, you know what I'm talking about. The worst. No. I'm gonna say that because that'd be my number 1. That'd be my worst. So then number 3 for me, claw games.
Oh yes.
Any one of those fucking claw games, or those fucking like the key one where you gotta make it in the hole that turns. Yeah. Any one of those games, man. Fuck those games, bro. Yeah. I'm terrible at them. I get so close and I get so mad. Then I spend more money and fuck you. I don't. I usually live with nothing.
Yeah.
Except for our sister Ashley, she fucking always wins. I know, she always
wins. It's so funny. It's a Denny's down the street that I go to all the time.
Yeah. And the one at Tahiti Village.
No, it's right here on Blue Diamond and.
Oh yeah, they just built one.
Yeah, it's like right by EOS.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But it literally says on there you can play or you can pay $20 and just choose whatever thing you want in there.
Really? Yeah. Oh, bro. Don't take my kids over there. They were like, Daddy, can I get $20?
I'm like, you could have bought this for $4 at Walmart up the street.
Straight up. They get all those things from those wholesalers that it's like 50 cents to buy. Bro.
Nobody wants that shit.
Yeah, bro.
But you want it because you can't get it.
Well, the one in Old Henderson by us, right off of Warren Springs, they actually have 2. And one of them is strictly all Marvel heroes.
Oh, that's dope.
And my sons fucking go crazy and cry every time we leave that motherfucker. So I can't even go there no more. What's your number 3?
Number 3 is definitely that one where you put in the coin and it drops into one of the heavy trucks. And the trucks don't fucking ever spill over, bro. It's like, why did I just waste my shit? God, can I get a redo?
That's facts. My number 2. And it's more of Well, I guess it's been a little while since it's been out now, but it's a newer game. It started on phones, but I've seen it in arcades now. Fucking Flappy Bird.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I fucking hate Flappy Bird. That's the most annoying fucking game of all time.
Yeah.
Just tapping just to keep it balanced, and then you always fuck up.
Mhm.
I don't fuck with it. What's your number 2?
Number 2, mine would have to
Are
be
you hearing
those.
feedback?
I don't even have my headphones.
Yeah, we good.
So my number 2 would have to be the football throwing game.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they make the holes tiny. The ball is tiny. It's like, this is pointless, bro.
I be making it too, though.
I be
feeling like
making it too,
I
bro,
be
but
feeling
I'm
like a
like,
real
this
end
ain't
of a
real.
quarterback. I be like, wait till Matt sees this
No,
shit.
no. I'll be like, bro, this is some bullshit.
That's hilarious.
It's like going to the carnivals and missing the shot when you always make it. This is not regulation, and you know it.
Well, because at those carnivals, they always got the rims that are like flattened.
Oh, yeah,
They're not
or
even
it's
a
bending
full circle.
forward.
Yeah, or they're bending down. Yeah.
Yeah, I still make them though.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Man, we went to what is that? We went to Knott's Berry Farm.
Mhm.
The last time we went, and me and my brother, we always go look for the 3-point
Three-point
contest.
challenge,
And back in the day, man, like I'd hit at least 1, maybe 3 max. I felt so embarrassed. I literally overshot every single shot, and my man almost made every shot.
Yeah, I splashed.
Yeah,
It was like
Splash
Splash Mountain for me,
City,
bro.
yeah,
I still got the hat I won.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Hell yeah,
new
dog.
era, bro.
Yeah, last time I won a basketball because I made 3 shots. I'm
Yeah.
like, I know I could do this shit. No,
I'm getting that fake Kobe jersey.
for real. So my number 1 worst game of all time. You already named it. So same thing.
The truck.
Those old school ones, but it was the truck, but it's more of the other ones like the sweepers.
Oh yeah,
The sweepers
Yeah,
that push the
yeah,
coins
yeah,
down,
yeah.
or the fucking ski jump.
I was gonna.
Do you remember
That's
the
in my
ski jump?
top,
The ski jump?
bro. You know me, bro. That's how I used to get all my tickets.
Bro, fuck that game, bro.
I
I
always
hated
made that
that
shit,
ski
bro.
jump, bro.
What?
Oh my god, I fucking
those
hated
gonna be
that shit, bro. What's your number 1 worst of all time?
Number
Of all
1
time.
worst of all time. Man, I guess I'll put claw machines up there.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah, fuck
pretty
claw
trash,
machines,
bro.
bro. Fuck claw machines.
yeah. We gonna make a tough block shirt that says "fuck
I
claw
know
machines."
shit, though. It's gonna have a picture of a small little Asian girl. That's gonna be Ashley. All right, for our drop top. You want to start with honorable mentions? Do you have an honorable mention?
Maybe at the end.
Okay, my honorable mention, and it's because we grew up loving this game so much that we bought this motherfucker for a PlayStation 1. And my number 1, or my honorable mention is Dance Dance Revolution.
Oh yeah,
Boy, I have
that, bro.
work. Boy, honestly, that's why I'm so good at the fucking agility
Ladder drills.
Yeah, I'm a dog at
Damn, that means
shit,
Lena
bro.
should be good at them too.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
You asshole.
Me and my sister, we're actually legit.
Really good.
Fucking really
Actually
good at that
really
shit,
good.
bro. We used to shut down arcades at that game, bro.
We had a fake Dance Revolution too.
Yeah,
One
it
with
was-
a penguin dance. With songs that are
like
what
butterfly.
is
It was a
this?
butterfly song.
What
Wonderful.
is this? Is this a
Oh
bunch
my
of?
God.
Is this an anime soundtrack?
No, it's all the fucking. It's all the EDC music they listen to.
How we get a fake
Oh, bro.
Dance Revolution?
That's hilarious.
It's called Dance Revolution Dance.
All right, so my number 3 best arcade game of all time was the old school Punch Out games where they actually had like the little clear
I
boxing
hated
gloves.
those, bro.
Oh, dog!
I hated
when we used to
those.
go to Prim at State
was too
Line.
little.
Oh man, I used to live on that fucking game. Had 2 little boxing gloves. Things,
Yeah.
and all I would do is hooks
I
all day.
forgot
I would
about
knock
that.
motherfuckers out on that shit.
Forgot about
That was. Oh my god, I used to live on that game. What about you? Number 3.
Number 3 have to be Madden Blitz, bro.
Ooh, I did not want to throw that one in there.
That shit was. That shit was fire, bro.
But that's the reason why I love that game. But the reason why I couldn't put it in my top 3 is because they only let you play one game.
Yeah.
And it was like 2-minute quarters.
Yeah.
And it was, you stealing my money, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I could play this shit at home.
And that fake Ray Lewis was that guy on that game.
Swear
bro.
to God, bro. I swear to God, you could be 5 years, you could be 50 yards down the field. He'll hawk your ass down and still hit sticky from behind. He was a dog. Number 2. So my number 2 and my number 1 were tough for me, but I really had to look back. Like, what did I stick myself on more? So my number 2 of all time would be Marvel versus Capcom 2.
Nice,
bro. Marvel versus.
You did love that.
Oh my God, I stayed on that shit. It was my 3 was, and I always did Wolverine, Spider-Man, and what's his name? Ryu.
Yep. I knew it.
Those are my 3. What about you? What's your number 2?
Number 2, man, that is such a tough one.
Right?
Probably Time Crisis.
Ooh, probably yes, sir. Time Crisis.
That shit was the shit.
So, like you said, man, that's my number 1. Time Crisis 4, to be exact. Time Crisis. We used to live on that thing, bro. Voter station.
Because our parents lived.
I was not gonna throw that one out there. But I mean, we lived in the arcade, so it should tell you pretty much. But man, we used to live on Time Crisis 4. Anytime that shit was in the arcade, that's the game that we jumped on for sure.
Yeah,
and I
take all our money right away,
straight up. But dog, you feel dope as shit. You feel dope as shit when you got the foot pedal and you.
Yeah. Until you see yourself when someone else doing it, you see it from behind, like, God, they look so stupid.
Straight up,
this fool really looks like it thinks he's in the CIA.
This motherfucker really thinks he's a secret agent.
Oh man,
what's your number 1 of all time?
All time has to be the 3-point.
Hot Shots.
Have to be.
That's a great one. I was thinking of either putting Hot Shots or Skee Ball in mine, but I only played Skee Ball when I was with certain family members. Hot Shots I only played when I was with you. Just because everybody else I really couldn't compete with. These motherfuckers never fucking did sports or nothing like that. So I could only do that shit with you.
It's funny because we did Kyron's birthday at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
And like they give you this wristband that's unlimited play for like 2 hours.
Oh, shit.
So like everybody in the family is all like, "Where's Matt? Where's Matt? Why is he not?" Kid was like, He's looking at that fool over there. I'm just all the whole time just shoot. He's like, you have guests here too. You should be trying to make them mingle. I'm over here. Just Kyron's like, Daddy, I want to play that game. I'm like, hang on, I'm almost done.
Oh man, I'd be finding myself doing that shit too when I be going to arcades and shit. Well, it's not even that. It's they'll ask, Daddy, can you help? All right, let me help. Like,
you never get it back.
You asshole. Especially the Jurassic Park games. Boy, my sons love that one. They stood there like, hang on, let daddy do it. I got you. And I'm just playing the whole time.
Some things never change.
Oh man. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all joining us on this podcast. I think we've gone on an extra half hour, so this might be a 3-hour podcast, dog. Maybe 2.5, 2:45, but appreciate y'all for coming on again. Make sure that y'all tap in with Flow Bottle. Thank you, Flow Bottle, again for being a sponsor of the podcast. You definitely could catch us. We're trying to be more consistent with this thing. I know we've been dropping episodes either every other week or every 2 weeks. Just different technical issues that we've been running into that been prolonging some of these episodes, but you can still expect us to be dropping these. Make sure you tap in with some of our content that we've been dropping lately. We've been getting some great engagement. We love hearing from y'all. But yeah, let us know who y'all want to see on this podcast, who you want to see to come pull up on the block, man. Or if any of y'all out there want to come and collab with us, let us know, man. We down. If anybody is on the southwest side of town, please come check out my brother, man, and the beautiful family that he's built here at Alto Jiu-Jitsu. Shout out James, shout out Mitch, shout out the whole team. Brother, you want to say anything?
No, man. Just again, thank you for supporting us. We got more coming out. We love the engagement, like you said. The more on the fan cast. Let us know what you think. And yeah, just keep rocking with us.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, this has been the Tough Block Podcast. We appreciate y'all coming back. We out.
Big trust.
All right, welcome back to the block. This is the Tough Block Podcast. I'm your host, DJ. I have my Uso here with me.
Monix, what's up?
We've been out for quite a while. We had shot a couple things, but we've been dropping a little bit of content from those shots. I don't know if that episode is gonna come out. We'll let you know if it does. But I think, and I was just thinking about this in the parking lot. For this episode, we have a very special guest, but this is our first episode of the season with one of your teammates.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yes.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. I was like, man, I know last season we
had Professor James. We had Mitch.
Caesar.
Oh, yeah, Caesar.
What's his name?
Josh,
but the photographer, I always forget his name. I think he's at a different gym at the moment.
Oh, Tolu.
Yeah, Tolu.
Yeah, I forgot about Tolu. Shout out to Tolu, man.
Shout out Tolu, man. Great people. But on this week's episode, man, very special guest. Like I said, our very first Atos teammate on this season. Coming on
Ryan Birrell, how you doing, brother?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
Great to have you.
I don't know why I did that. I put your last name and first name together. I'm so sorry. But
No,
Ryan,
good.
thank you
Good.
so much,
He's
brother.
terrible.
I'm a terrible person. Just talking to you just a little bit, even before this podcast, man, I see why my brother wanted to bring you on, man. Just the little 5-minute banter that we had back and forth, man. Like, you have a special energy about you, bro. Genuinely.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And we kind of were touching on it earlier, but what drew you to come here to Atos Jiu-Jitsu? What got you in?
Well, honestly, we met Professor James. My stepdaughter, Tatiana, was actually his first student. So I've known Professor James for a little bit. And actually, he moved into this building, actually put up some of these receptacles here in the first build.
Crazy.
But I didn't want to really get into jiu-jitsu. I was coaching my son's club baseball team.
There you go.
And we were a baseball family. I grew up playing ball.
What position?
Shortstop and catcher.
Nice.
And I love baseball, but it got crazy. Like, youth sports in this country right now are absolutely atrocious.
That's because the parents are living through the kids.
Yep. So we actually came here just to take a break.
There you go.
To take a break from ball. I said, hey, we lived right behind, like literally a 15-second walk from the gym. And I was like, hey, man, let's go do jiu-jitsu. Let's roll around and take a break from ball. And he was like, cool. And both of us fell in love.
Hey,
like,
nice.
My son does not want to play anything. Doesn't want to go back to baseball. Loves jiu-jitsu.
Awesome.
And same thing with me.
Because I feel like it's because both of you have that mind, and with jiu-jitsu, man, to be obsessed with it is you have to have that mind of like figuring things out. You know what I'm saying? It's such a puzzle.
Well, I mean, even being an outsider looking in, and you've touched on this before on our previous podcast, this place draws in a particular type of energy.
Yeah.
And from everybody that I've met here, including yourself, you fit right within that energy and that custom here at Atos.
For sure. It's a great energy here.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
one
sure.
of the best. I think probably the thing that kept me like coming back was the men here.
Of
how
course.
encouraging, just how loving the men were.
Right.
At the same time, beating the trash out of you.
Right. And it's like such a family environment. It's like I feel like you can meet somebody the day of like open mat. I saw a funny video actually. With dude was like, "Yeah, I just met this guy from open mat. He's coming to our wedding. I'm gonna be a best man at his wedding. He's staying with us."
Yeah, that's
It's like they just met.
That's
And that's
hilarious.
really what jiu-jitsu does for you.
Absolutely.
You should start doing skits like that on social media, bro. That'd be hilarious.
There's a lot of jiu-jitsu guys starting to do skits now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to become
if you don't stop playing and jump
become a
on that
thing.
opportunity. So, me and my brother were talking previously before this podcast, and you have such an enriched backstory, especially when it does come through the military. What made you choose to jump into the military? Because, like I said, me and my brother were too
chicken.
Yeah, too poos to have joined the military. But what enthrived you to join?
So my grandfather, call him Grampy, Big Don. He was
Shout out Grampy.
yeah, he was Marine, and his sons, my uncles didn't go. So, when I was early enough to listen to a conversation, my grandfather was talking to me about the Marine Corps,
Man.
and everybody loved Big Don. Like, he was the scariest dude on the planet, but everybody loved him.
Right.
He loved everybody. He was a great guy. But super tough dude. Never said I'm proud of you.
Right.
I was like 105 pounds playing football. I should have got into wrestling back then, but just little guy, and he'd be like, you did all right, but that just I seen this seriousness about him, and I seen how like a good dude he was, but everybody feared and respected him.
Right.
And I knew that came from the Corps.
Of course.
So that's and I sucked at school. We'll be honest too. Probably if I got a scholarship somewhere, or I was just I might have gone somewhere else, man. But I was drawn to the Corps for I think normal reasons why most Marines start. We're tough guys, hard-headed.
Right. How old were you when you had first joined?
So I was 17 when I first enlisted. I didn't turn 18 till summer after I graduated.
Right.
But I was barely going to graduate, if at all. So,
man,
funny story. My high school sweetheart, she broke up with me,
Jeez.
and so we were going to go to college together. So
Of
I was like,
course.
I'm enlisting.
Right.
I'll show her. But as soon as the recruiter came to my house and my mom was talking to her, she's like, I'll walk him personally to every class.
Right.
She's like, I'll make sure he does all of his homework.
Hey.
My mom was like, where do I sign?
Right. Gotta snap the whip.
Yep. Yep.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So growing up, did you have, I know that with your grandpa, but did you have like dreams about joining specifically the Marine Corps?
I mean, I always knew if I was going to go to the military, it would be the Marine Corps for sure.
Right.
I don't think I really knew what I wanted to do, though. Like, my whole life. I grew up in the 90s, so gangbanging was a big deal.
You were in Torrance at the time?
Yeah, and then we moved to, Lancaster, Palmdale. Then we came out here. But if you lived out here and you say that you came from LA, you were a big deal.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So I don't know if I ever really thought too much about it. So when it came, I was like, well, I guess this is the route to go.
Right.
But I loved the Corps. I wanted to retire in the Corps. It didn't work out that way, but
man, that's crazy.
I did love the Corps. I still love the Corps.
Well, even being at 17 years old and you were just talking about it, like you really don't know what you want out of this world. What was your thought process when you did enlist and then you got thrived into the culture of the military?
I think maybe one of the reasons why, and I want to make sure I say it good, because I'm not saying it's an attack on our young teens or whatever, but there's definitely a reason why you can't understand too much about life to willingly go to combat.
Absolutely.
Until you've been there a few times. Now, one of the older salt dogs, that's been there a bunch of times, and this is just a way of life now. I get that, but you like knowing what I know now, like I've got children that I love. I've got so much out of this life so far. I mean, like it would be difficult to make that same decision today.
Right.
Sure,
You got a lot to live for.
Yeah,
of course.
So, but I don't think for me personally, I don't think I really ever thought of it.
Really?
I enlisted in 2000.
Oh man.
So there wasn't really anything going on.
Right.
There was, it was kind of like world peace, man. There wasn't.
Mm-hmm. That was right before 9/11.
Yeah, we were just having fun. I deployed 6 months over to Japan and Thailand, mainland Japan.
Heck yeah.
So we were living that life, overseas and being young and dumb. And we came back in like mid-August. We had a couple weeks off. We came back. We were gonna go requalify on the rifle range, which for an infantry guy is, it's like a day off,
right,
or a week off. And they're like, "Oh, we're not going today. Look what's on the news." And we watched September 11th happen.
That's crazy.
And then we were like, "Oh, we're going to war." And we were excited. It was like, now we get to play the game.
Right. For sure. Now I get off the bench.
Yeah.
I got to start the game. Man, that's wild. I mean, when that all did go down, obviously you were kind of mentally preparing yourself to go at war, but did you see any action out there? And was that something that you were even aware of? Like, obviously everyone sees the glam and the glitz and the glory of being a soldier, but once you're in the action, was that different for you?
the Marine Corps is amazing at what they do.
For sure.
So I ended my my second enlistment, or my career as a drill instructor, but there's a very real way that the Marine Corps trains young men and women to be. So we were very excited. We knew we were trained well. We knew that we were going to win. Like, these were never really questions for us going over there. Like, we were about to get down. And so we were the first unit in Kuwait. And
I remember that too.
You know, we're sitting in the tents. We're out there for about almost 2 months.
Right.
And we're training every day for the same mission. And we were going to the Azubair oil fields, the crown jewel of Iraq, they called it. And they said that the enemy's most dangerous course of action and his most probable course of action was that when we came on to the oil fields, they were going to blow them up.
Right.
And it was going to kill everybody. So we were just training. They're like, well, you know, it's going to kill everybody. We're like, well, let's see, you know, when that day comes, you know, and we just, you know, we
have that mindset.
You know, you make it comical. Or like, dear sir, man, we regret to inform you, your son has been turned into a hot pocket. Like, we really said things like this, and I think that's what we do. We cope with the reality of the situation by making it not real.
Of course, you know. Of course, humor also does help for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I was reading from one of the, I think it was Washington Post. Hell on Earth.
Hell on Earth.
Hell on Earth.
That was the first deployment. So that was it's a popular city too. It'll come to me, but I remember that place. We had just hit it hard with artillery. We were going through that city, so we stopped in that city to patrol through it, make sure the enemy was either not there anymore or non-combative. I'm walking down the streets and there's like dead donkeys in the streets. It's literally like what you watched on TV. Like, most of what we do is not what you see in the movies.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah.
Of course.
You know, I mean, there's plenty of heroic moments and all of these things. It just doesn't look the same.
Right.
You know?
Of course.
But that day did. That was a weird day where it was the middle of the night, and like I said, it was like sewage running through the street, and it smelled bad, and there was donkeys that had been hit by artillery, so they were just blown up everywhere. So that did look like, you know, the movie.
Of course,
but
for sure.
The first time over there, man, we didn't really have many firefights. It was really a parade, kind of.
Oh, I see.
And it was weird for us because we felt like we got sold short.
Of course. Man,
you know, so
that's crazy.
It's weird. That was maybe, you know, just as difficult to deal with.
For sure.
Like, everybody's calling you a hero when you get back, and you're like, I didn't really.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, that's not saying that, you know, nobody else did it. Just we didn't have that much engagement with the enemy the first time.
For sure, but still, that's a weird place for you to be in, where in training you're mentally preparing yourself. Oh man, I'm about to turn into a hot pocket, and then get there, and then nothing happens. I could definitely see that. That would be way worse for me.
Yeah, like kind of like a vanilla comparison, but like training so hard for Worlds, and then you show up, and the only guy in your division didn't show up.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible.
No, absolutely. And it's not, you know, that's what I was saying earlier, is like everything is relative.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you, like, it's been it was 2005, so almost 20 years since I've been to combat. So like the story you just said is much more frightening to me than the one that I experienced 20 years ago.
Really?
Because
it's newer, right?
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, you're sitting in that bullpen, and, you know, by yourself, and, you know, you freak out. Same thing. And then the guy doesn't show up. You're like, you're wearing a gold medal, but
you're like, man, I starved myself for this, literally.
You saw yourself on the podium, and everybody knows because there's nobody on second or third.
You just cut it out. It's just you. That's funny.
I've seen that on a lot of jiu-jitsu pictures.
Yeah.
Then now you know what happened.
Now I know.
Now you know what
That
happened.
is hilarious.
Don't be sold by all these fake
That's
first
so
place
funny.
posts.
Right.
I'm telling you.
I got second place. There's only two of us.
Yeah.
I've had that medal a lot of times.
I'm gonna come back stronger. I won that first fight. The ref wasn't on my side.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, still, that being said, did you have to live? Well, how was life living out there in in that part of the world?
Different.
Yeah, of
Very,
course.
very different. So
For sure.
I remember, you know, Kuwait, the biggest thing I remember about Kuwait was that I could understand why people thought the world was flat and that they were the only people there. Because you go to Kuwait, there's no mountains, there's no elevation change. It is perfectly flat.
Wow.
It is a desert that doesn't have any vegetation, nothing.
Oh, man.
So you stand out there and you're like, you know that your family's back home because they've been writing you, and you're like, oh, we're the only people here on this whole planet. Like,
that's crazy.
It was the craziest thing ever.
For sure.
Now, southern Iraq, that was wild because they still live the same way Jesus and the disciples lived.
Really?
They don't have doors on their, adobe huts, no windows. They've got holes in them. They still, run over the berm 100 feet out and use the restroom out there. It's like very, very, very. In fact, we rolled up on the first village, and the guy came out, stopped us. What's going on? Our country's at war with your country. He's like, I don't know what's going on. Wow. He didn't even know.
Dang,
but
imagine.
Yeah, he was like, you know what? We'll kill the fattened calf, which is a huge thing. And we sat down, in the war. It was like day 2, and had a big feast with this.
Dang, that's cool though.
This village, yeah, it was. Man, there was so many good things that happened over there. We opened up schools, painted schools.
What?
Took kids to a carnival. We opened up this carnival that only the national or the Iraqi National Guard, Republican Guard, excuse me, was allowed to go to. It was on the job. So all the kids that grew up there were never allowed to go to that carnival.
Right.
And so now that the war was over and we had it, we opened up that carnival, and it was funny because we still had our M16s. We're always there armed, but we had kids on the Ferris wheels with us. We got an M16 and we're holding Ali and I got hilarious pictures of it. It's hilarious. They're like, "Why are you holding a gun?" Like, because we still in Iraq, But we're at the carnival too, hanging with the kids. So we started a soccer league there.
Dang. Wow, that's awesome.
I got pictures of all that. It was.
They need to make a movie about that.
Yeah, the first time over there for sure was. It was a lot of kind of relationship building with the population.
Of course.
Obviously, there's a ton of mistrust by them.
Of course.
Whatever reason we went over there, we lied about it, whatever, we got over here, and these are the real stories of the stuff that happened apart from all the politics and everything. And
for sure.
I think that's the reason why Iraq has done well to this day, fighting for their own country.
Right. Yeah. 1,000%.
And a lot of other countries we've been to, weren't able to do that. And Iraq had a lot of good people that love their country and fought for it.
And it's interesting that you do say that because you don't really hear that in our media.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is such good stuff that we should be talking about regularly.
Yeah, it was 1,000%. Successful, right? It was successful, regardless. I mean, they say there was no weapons of mass destruction. I can say for sure.
Right.
I was the nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare officer on my unit. We were in this place that had a berm all the way around it with machine gun posts oriented in, like to keep people inside. Dang. It was a really weird place. We ended up kicking over some, big metal drums full of liquid. We called it in, and I kid you not, within like 10 hours, the CIA and special forces were there, and so bulletproof Suburbans, glasses, big beards, told us to leave, and never heard about it again to this day.
What?
Never heard about it. What? You can ask anybody from 1st Battalion, 7 Marines, Baker Company.
Dang.
At that time in 2003. And we talk about it to this day, man.
Right.
We used to see this girl that was like coming down the street in this little tricycle, and her eyes were glowing. That's how crazy that place was.
Right,
like, it was really weird.
Whoa.
And like I said, the CIA spooks came and the special forces, and we always debrief after every mission. After something happens, we always talk about it, no matter what. That was the only time.
Sheesh, just imagine, dog.
Whoa,
take that for what it is. But
well, I mean, if there's anything to give you freaking more
questions.
Yeah, questions about your own government, man.
Oh,
shoot.
boy.
Right.
Well, how many tours did you say?
So I did 2 over there. So the second one was a lot different. After the first one, I came home and got married.
Nice.
To a girl I actually dated in junior high. So we'd known each other for a really long time.
Hey.
I kept drunk calling her old phone number. It was her mom's house.
All right.
She finally called me. She was like, "Stop calling my mom at 2:00 in the morning."
That's hilarious.
Like, hey, I wanted to talk to you anyway.
Yeah, it worked. It got the job done. And so I was supposed to. I had orders to go to Virginia to train officers. I didn't want to do any of the big three. I didn't want to be a drill instructor. I didn't want to be a recruiter.
I see.
I just wanted to. I loved war. I loved combat. That's what I was there for.
Right.
I was good at it.
For sure.
And if I couldn't be over there because I had a family now, I want to train people how to do it. So
Right.
I figured I could have, the longest arms with training officers.
Right.
But I wanted to go back to Iraq, so I canceled my orders without my wife knowing.
Dang.
And went back. Where
How
we went.
upset was she when she found out?
I didn't. I told her the Marine Corps was making me go back. She knew.
She knew.
Right? But yeah, I mean, the second time, there was 3-7 was over there. They were taking a lot of casualties,
Man.
a lot of KIA. So this was the real deal.
Yeah,
and
for
I
sure.
had been the squad leader of that platoon already. So I was like, let's do it again. So
Yeah,
I
why
canceled
not?
my orders. I went over the second time, and it was for sure. It was a game changer.
Yeah.
You know,
bet.
day one, first patrol, PFC Cates, got shot in the back of the head and killed.
Oh, man.
A lieutenant had already been. And this is like the first week, but a lieutenant had already had an IED that was in a wall, shot him in half.
Oh man.
We had a tank commander that was actually leaving, so he was just taking our tank commanders on a patrol around the city.
Just to show
And
him around.
he was out of a tank and got hit with an RPG in the last minutes in country. So that was like all week one, and we'd been mortared like 3 times. We're like, wow, this is
the
what
real
we came
stuff.
for. This is the
Yeah.
real deal. But my squad and myself, we knew, my thing was I stopped talking to my wife. I stopped talking to my family and stuff, like usually like 2-3 weeks before I went over, because I was a squad leader. I wanted to just, be fully focused on what we had to do.
Right.
And my squad was different. Like when everybody else was partying over the weekends and stuff, we were working. But I had 2 squads over there 2 different times, and none of my Marines died. We got the most Purple Hearts in the battalion, but
Man.
nobody died, so everybody came home.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, for sure, man. Especially like, and we were kind of touching on it before, and that hitting you within the first week. I'm sure anxiety, depression, all these things were hitting you hard. How was that for you, and how did you deal with that?
I don't know, like my upbringing was great and everything. I always, and I'm not saying it's the most healthy thing to do. It probably isn't emotionally, but I'm able to detach myself very easy, So my wife always says things like, people are not going to understand you when you talk about war being a business.
Right.
But it is. When you're over there, it's not emotion.
Yeah,
it
of
can't
course.
be emotion.
Of
Because if you
course.
make emotional decisions, then you're going to end up killing an innocent person.
For
Whether
sure.
you think he's innocent or not doesn't make a
Right.
difference. If
Right.
he doesn't have a gun in his hand, he's innocent.
Right.
So if you're emotional, then it's that's when you start struggling with depression and stuff like that. So you kind of shelf those things, and of course there's emotional things. When your buddies die over there, or, somebody gets shot, or you do or whatever. It's an emotional thing, but
Of course.
you learn that you deal with that emotion, right, and then you move on.
For sure.
And the quicker you can do that in a healthy way, the better off you're going to be. The reality is down there is, like here in the States, it's always good to kind of, go over those things, talk to them, talk about them and stuff. But over there, you got to shelf everything. You just shelf it all.
Just move
Right.
on.
Yeah, you got to move on.
Right.
Man.
There's no time for emotions.
Do you see? Do you witness it happen a lot with a lot of soldiers out there, that some of them don't handle it well and their emotions get the best of them? Does it happen often, or is it just strictly business for everybody?
So I heard that it does happen a lot, and but it doesn't happen that much with Marines. Not in country.
Yeah, of course.
Marines, and it's partly obviously because I am one, but Marines are very different.
For sure.
We're trained different.
For sure.
Now I think we also probably have the highest ratio of suicide too, because the other end of that is that Marines don't talk about we don't talk about our feelings and stuff like that. So I've always been big, like, you know, stuff like this, like none of it bothers me. You know, I learned, you know, it's only going to bother you if you don't talk about it.
For sure.
You leave all of this stuff inside, it's coming sooner or later.
For sure.
You know, you might get away with it for 2 decades, but it's coming back.
Right.
You know?
Do you feel like you naturally had that? Because, I mean, I could even speak for myself. Like, man, we kind of touched on it in a previous podcast. Like, I've had a lot of very, very close friends where they lost their lives to mental health.
Yeah.
And even for me, sometimes I don't like to prioritize my own mental, because it's like, man, why would I put that burden on anybody else?
Right.
But for you, it sounds like that's been a pretty easy thing. Is that something that was instilled with you from your family, or is that just you from in general?
That I was always able to shelf things,
right,
and be very detached, you know, and be very businesslike.
For sure.
But then because of that, I didn't know how to live here again. So being back here in the States, everything was too slow. Nobody really cared about what's really going on.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be here anymore. I couldn't take it. So, I mean, honestly, I learned all of that part of it after, you know, I got kicked out of the Marine Corps.
Man.
I was homeless for 2 years in Tijuana.
Jeez. Yeah, he was mentioning that.
So I learned all of that when I met the Lord at the Salvation Army.
Oh, wow.
You know, in rehab, and then I started to, you know, learn, like, I got a lot of kind of, you know, trauma in me, things that would come out when I was, you know, drinking too much, or
right,
you know, at that point in my life doing a lot of drugs and stuff.
For sure.
And I wish I could tell you I conquered it all, you know, today at 40, and I'm still working, you know.
For sure.
It's definitely an everyday thing, but I think that's where, you know, it's like confessing to another brother, like, you know, what James tells us in the Bible. You know, when you confess your sins to one another, and you just talk about your stuff to each other, man, it's something weird. It's the same thing that goes out there on the mats, right? Like, when I'm giving all of everything I got, and you're giving everything you got, and we're in this crazy war that nobody else knows about, and nobody else. When it's over, that handshake is different than that first handshake you gave.
Amen.
Right.
Yep.
I feel like you see that with
fighters.
Yeah.
Exactly, like Tank and Ryan Garcia exchanging numbers.
Yeah.
You know, especially the build up. You have so much emotion when you finally let it all out. It's like, man, we just went through something. There's no way you can put that back in the box.
Yeah,
you know,
1000%. But it's also that level of respect that you grow for someone else, because you know how hard that they had to get through just to meet you.
Yep.
Because of the work you put in as well.
Because you knew what it took for you to get there.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So, once you realized that, when you came back, how did you go, or how do you go about seeking for help?
So, you know, PTSD. Like, I had a USA Today article written about me, me and one other guy, and I've never really told people I have PTSD. I don't like to label myself with that stuff,
of course,
because if that, I don't want that to become my identity.
Yeah.
For me, it was different because I got the type of discharge I got. I don't have anything to do with the military anymore. I can't go on base anymore. I can't.
Oh, really?
I can't. I don't have the GI Bill. I don't have. The only thing I could keep was my medals. They can't take that from me.
Man, that's crazy. Everything you've done for this country too.
You know what had happened with my drug use and leaving. You know, I left, you know, when I wasn't supposed to and everything. And I could probably, you know, I've talked to attorneys in the military before who say, you know, you have a good case of, you know, getting your stuff back. But the reality is there's a lot of Marines that came before me that did the same things I did and worse, and didn't make the same decisions as I made, regardless of how I was feeling emotionally or anything at that time.
Of course,
everybody else was feeling that too, and they didn't make the same decisions I made.
See how much of a good guy you are, though.
Seriously,
you're like, man, I didn't have it as bad. It's still
real life Captain America.
Honestly, man, that's really that right there is really the Lord. I mean, I'm a grumpy guy. You know,
I would never say that about you. Never.
It's funny because my wife works for me. We're both in construction, and she's like, "You're definitely different at work." She's like, "You're mean." I'm 5 foot. When you're 5'6", man, everybody wants it with you when it gets weird, right?
True.
So
yeah,
you got to be a little bit louder, you know.
1000%.
But
I mean, the coolest guy walking around here, like literally.
You can see it,
the
man.
most chill dude walking around
you
here.
can tell, man.
that's a thing. Like honestly, at this point in my life, man, like I'm so far from that Marine I used to be. And jiu-jitsu's kind of showed me, like, you know, it's weird. I think Corey Sandhagen was just saying this. It's like, you know, when he used to fight, he used to have to get really up and get really angry to go to war, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I've been there, obviously, you know,
sure.
listen to DMX before you go out on a patrol, you know.
X gonna get
we're ready. Or Hit 'em Up.
Hit 'em
Tupac,
Up,
you know, we
yeah,
listen to that one
yeah.
a lot. That was if they were really going to get it. But, like, it's not the person I want to be anymore, you know. And jiu-jitsu has showed me, like, there's a way you can do this fight thing. There's this without really fighting anymore. This is more of a game and just kind of go through life. So I used to crave the chaos,
Right.
and this was the first thing that got me to really look at my life and not just in the fight, but just in my whole life. Like, you don't need to live in chaos.
Yeah.
Like, you can have a really good time without it too.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I feel like that's a young man's mentality, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we all try to challenge the world, whether it's at home, whether it's in war or in sports. I feel like we all kind of carry that chip on our shoulder where it's like,
Sure.
and we got to dominate everything and anything, you know? And that might be the toxicity of what manhood can be, but, I mean, it's kind of through so many
It's good though, right?
things.
Like,
yeah.
I think it's necessary.
You
That was
need it.
another thing that he talked to
For sure.
about, right? It was like in the beginning he needed to be that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and he's evolved, so he doesn't need to be that guy anymore. And I think
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the big thing, is realizing, like, the way I do life at 40 is maybe a better way for now, but it wasn't necessarily a better way when I was 20.
Exactly.
Like, when I was 20, I needed to listen to Hit 'em Up before we
For
you
sure.
know, crossed the line of departure. You
For
know,
sure.
I was doing different things then
Right.
than I'm doing now.
And without that experience, you don't have the wisdom now to know better.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you something. So as far as I do know, you have 2 children, correct?
I've got 3 children.
3,
altogether.
nice.
2 stepdaughters and 1 son.
Awesome. Would you now knowing what you know, would you allow them to join the military and enlist?
Yeah, my oldest was gonna.
Man.
She was gonna enlist. She was just a couple weeks away, and then she landed a amateur fight, knocked the girl out. in
Yeah,
the
we're gonna
first
get there.
round.
We're gonna get there. We gotta talk about it.
So
Man,
you know,
dog.
my family, my wife, we're all fighters, man. It's an intense family.
For sure.
It's an
Man, that's
intense
what's up,
family.
man.
You know, my wife is Hawaiian.
Nice.
She's actually Marshallese.
Okay,
She's actually born in Marshall Islands. So she didn't.
Wow.
English is her second language.
sure.
She didn't know any of that till she was 12 when she moved here. I mean, if you run and talk to somebody, you talk to my wife. She wrote a book. She makes my life look like a walk in the park.
Man.
Like, you know, but it's an intense family.
Yeah, I bet.
It's an intense family.
For sure. For sure.
I definitely wanted to get to fighting because, I mean, every time there's a huge fight, I love talking to Ryan. He's very well versed in all the fighting.
Oh, for sure. Let's
His
do
daughter
it.
fought, so it's deep in that. But before we get there, I wanted to ask. I know you said it's closer now than it was then, but do you kind of get to, like, this guy's been fighting in some in jiu-jitsu, especially in the gi, the biggest tournament you can do is IBJJF.
Yeah, of course.
And he's been fighting in the big ones.
Oh, wow.
So,
man,
do you
that's
feel the same nerves of, like, war?
No, I'm
Not at
way
all?
more nervous.
Really?
Yeah. You know, and maybe, you know, I mean, it's funny because jiu-jitsu kind of exposes you in a lot of ways. So, you know, I look back now and I might have a different outlook, but back then I was super confident about what I did. You know, I got kind of hooked up. My team leader was on like his 3rd DUI when I got to the fleet. You know, so I'm a brand new Marine. He was on his 3rd DUI, so they're like, "Birrell, you're in charge." So I've pretty much been a leader since I got into the Marine Corps. So I kind of skipped all of the, the other stuff. So yeah, and I guess there too, you know, you have the backing of when you get the call for close air support from, the Hornets, or you got Chris Kyle in the roof above your head, and you got another 1,000 Marines right behind you. Like,
Right.
I'm not really worried. I don't get nerves.
Right.
This is just, it's business, really.
For sure.
It's time to go out. Now, of course, when rounds start coming down range, the day I got hit by a car bomb, that was probably the first time I really felt fear.
Man, hell yeah! I would have a car bombs.
That
was during your second tour?
Yeah, that was my second tour. That was February 3rd of 2005, and the night before we're in the trash OP. It's called the Trash Observation Post, and they call it Trash Road because that's where the whole city would bring their trash out and burn it out there. So we're about 500 meters outside of the city, well inside our range, but way outside of theirs.
Right.
So we could watch the whole middle of the city, and it was flat, and like halfway through there was a wadi that was filled with water that was probably about 15 feet wide. So in other words, for you to kill 8 of my guys in the trash OP, it's gonna take you a couple hundred dudes. Like, it's gonna be too easy, right?
For sure.
We were just talking about that the night before, and I always slept like, you're on post, this is where I would sleep, right here. And just in case my Marine had to take a shot, if he had to ask permission first because of rules of engagement,
Of course.
I would be there. And I remember sleeping. I didn't have my flak jacket or my Kevlar on. I'm just sleeping there in my camis. I remember hearing, "Oh my God, we got a fucking truck." Now I'm thinking the truck is 20 seconds away at least.
Right.
Next thing I know, I hear pop, 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 boom. Thing drove through the wall, blew up. I can't see nothing. It's black. I can't hear. And it was actually just like Saving Private Ryan when everything kind of slows down like that.
Yeah.
I started calling out for everybody. Nobody answered back. I thought everybody was dead. And honestly, if being really honest, I always tell people, like, at that second right there, my next step was going to be just curl up in the fetal position and hope somebody comes and gets you. Like, that was the first time that a thought like that had ever come through.
Of course.
When I looked down, I seen one of my Marines, like, legs. He was kind of bloody and everything, and he was hurt. But then I snapped into, hey, I gotta get this guy evac'd.
Right.
Evac'd a few guys, and my other guy couldn't shoot anymore, so it was just me out there, and another 30 dudes coming, another truck, so another car bomb, and like 3 mortar guys this way dropping mortars on us, and man, I had to wait for my unit to come back us up, and so we just. That day, like a bullet hit the wall right here is like 2 inches this way. It would have been my face. And, we're like, woo, yeah, that's that was close. You kind of celebrate that. It's weird just so that you could keep going.
Of course.
But
trying to normalize it for
yeah,
yourself.
just try to normalize it.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, that was a crazy day for sure. For sure.
Man, if you ever want to be thankful for your life, man, that'd be one of them for sure, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that was a weird one.
So you saying that you were kind of put in charge, and you were a drill sergeant, and you coached baseball as well. How important is it to you to, like, affect the person that you're coaching or helping out or dropping knowledge on? How important is it to you that your message came across and it just wasn't like a one ear out the other type of thing?
It used to be like I had the time to just like just keep beating it into you if it did go in one ear out the other.
Of course.
But what I realized too now is, like, I don't have that much time anymore, right?
Right.
So I want to be around people and affect people that want to be affected.
Yeah.
Especially men. Like,
yeah,
I think we don't talk enough, and we don't share experience with each other enough, because men just don't do that. We'd rather watch football or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But yeah, I don't have, I still help cousins and stuff, or friends that deal with drug addiction and stuff. But I tell them right up front, like, I'm taking time away from my family right now, and that's the most important thing to me. So I'm willing to do that, but if you're not willing to put in the work, I'm not willing to put in more work than you, and I'm not willing to sacrifice my family's time for it.
Yeah, that's
Before
facts.
I'd stay up till like 2 in the morning. I'm just not that.
Well, I mean, especially when you say your family's as intense as yours, man. Yeah, you definitely can. You definitely can swing that for sure.
Yeah, like we understand that. Ours don't sound as intense, but I mean, we got to beg to come out here and do a podcast.
Man, a couple years worth. No, just
But with having like you said now, now that you're older, you don't have the time. But when you were in the coaching and you were in the drill sergeant, has anybody reached out to you from the past that has like, man, you know what, something you said to me really affected me and really touched me?
Absolutely. That's why I love working with the youth, especially.
Yeah.
I have, like, my closest friends today that I call our family are kids. I didn't know their parents. It was kids that I started coaching in T-ball, and then I coached them the next year in T-ball, and then the next year in rookies, and I watched these kids grow up, and I'm still with them today.
Hey.
I mean, some of the coolest stuff is, like, I had a lady call me one time, and my team is already picked. We're the first place team, returning first place. This lady calls me up and she says, "Do you know so and so?" I don't want to mention his name. I said, I don't. I've never heard of him. And she said, "Well, my son's dad had your name next to the phone with your phone number saying, please let this guy coach my son next year. And he just passed away 2 weeks ago."
Man.
And I was like, I'll kick off whoever I have to on my team to get this kid, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just cool, like, you know, when you get the opportunity to help a kid like that who, you know, just lost his father.
Right.
Yeah, man, that's
just,
tough.
Just that little bit of time in you know, center field or whatever, or up to bat, and he's at least focused on something else other than the fact that he don't have a dad anymore.
For sure.
You know?
And especially because you're in that coaching space, do you kind of push some of the kids that you do teach and help that they do need to verbalize these things?
You know,
especially with the mental aspect?
I did. You know, I'm a, you know, just like a drill instructor, you know, my kids, when they were 4 years old, you know, they were doing push-ups.
Yeah.
Like 13-year-olds, you know.
For sure.
And my kids, if I told you not to chew gum and you're chewing gum, like, I was going to let you know. And your parents are going to be fine with it.
Yeah.
You know, I was kind of like James, like, your parents aren't allowed to come talk to you. Like, you're my kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because my biggest thing is through, whether it's martial arts or through baseball, through football.
For sure.
Is teaching these kids to be men.
Yeah.
You know, if they're going to be baseball players, it ain't going to be because of my coaching.
Right, of course.
You know,
Of
I just
course.
want them to know right from wrong. I want to know, you know, what discipline is, you know, honor, all of those things.
Yeah, of course.
You know.
And I feel like, and we touched on this before, like, discipline is probably the biggest lesson that you got to teach the youth, man. And that's one thing I wish we would have learned. If this man would have learned discipline way before, man, he probably would have been Ryan Gordon right now, or what's his name?
Gordon Ryan.
Gordon Ryan. Not talking about Andre Galvao.
Andre Galvao.
Yeah, Andre Galvao. Let me correct that. I saw your face was up a little bit.
If our parents could afford an expensive sport
Right.
like jiu-jitsu,
Yeah,
like,
that is true. Yeah, that is true.
like
too.
man, all these kids that I see around here, I'm always like, you know, this is a pretty penny. You know, and
Yeah,
you got
for
like
sure.
3 of y'all in here.
Yeah, for
That's-
sure, man. It's tough.
My son
man.
is lucky because you know, my 2 stepdaughters, they're grown.
Yeah.
You know, my oldest is 24.
Oh, nice.
Tatiana's you know, she's got almost a full ride scholarship as a thrower in Montana.
Nice.
So, you know,
Heck yeah.
so Ryan is he's like the only child now, so he gets to go to Cancun and
You
all
get
that
to chill.
stuff. The cool thing about Ryan though is like when I coached him, you know, I was a crazy man. Like, I got a temper, I'm a hothead, you know, I'm a very emotional person.
For sure.
And my son is super emotional like I am. So he would be striking dudes out and he'll walk like one batter and freaking lose his damn mind in front of everybody. And I'm like, man, now I gotta whoop your ass.
Right, yeah, man.
And I will too. I'll
Correct.
come right out to the pitcher's mound, you know. But it was really kind of hindering our relationship, you know.
I see.
Kind of like me and my mom as we were growing up.
For
Me
sure.
and my mom are best friends, but that's where I get my crazy from.
Yeah,
my
for
dad
sure.
is like, he's super cool, you know.
Right.
When I got here, you know, Professor James kind of took me aside and was like, look, man, let your son have his journey. Just let him have his journey.
Right.
And my son took L's for like a year and a half. You know, he typically couldn't find a fight at his size, so he's always fighting bigger kids.
Right.
But he was never able to lose well until he got into jiu-jitsu.
I see.
Once he started getting better at jiu-jitsu, he went through a phase where he would, cry and stuff after, but now it's like he's 13, something changed in him. And like he wakes up in the morning, 6 eggs and oatmeal. He cooks himself. He works out. He's working out right now.
I'll be seeing him flex.
Bro, he's always flexing. That dude stays flexing. I don't even know if he knows what a shirt is at this point. And it's funny because he's thin like me. When we take our shirts off, you can see our ribs. We're huge. But I love the way that he walks around like that. I love the way hold up your shoulders, bro. Like, we read Jordan Peterson's 12 rules of living, and one of that first one is, stand up straight and roll your shoulders back.
Yep.
You're the man. When I'm not in this house, I don't care how old your daughters are. I don't care how old your mom is. You're the man of the house.
Yes, sir.
You got to act that way. If I was half the child that my son is right now, I mean, that kid, if he keeps it up, he's gonna go way further.
For sure.
And he's not locked on like. Sometimes I got locked. I wanted to be a football player.
For sure.
Come on, man. That wasn't going to happen, right? He's not locked into like being a jiu-jitsu guy. He's not worried about medals and stuff like that. Like he's like, Dad, I'm gonna do jiu-jitsu because it's good for my life. I want to wrestle when I get to college because maybe I could get a scholarship. So when I go to the military, I could be an officer. Man. But if I don't do that, I want to also run cross country and be a swimmer so that I'm ready to be a Navy SEAL. And this is 13 years old, and this is none of my words, bro.
Right.
This is none of my words. I'm like, who is this kid, man?
But it's influence from your passion. That's the most beautiful thing. And my son, he's only 6 years old, and that's one thing that I do see is like, man, he's very. Like, me and him, we grew up where for me seeing what a man was a WWE wrestler or a football player.
Yeah.
Like everybody's all ripped up, shaving down, but like real man's man. And I see the same thing with my son because he's very passionate about superheroes. He's very passionate about. He has no idea what jiu-jitsu is, but once he found out that his uncle does it, man, every day he's begging me, Daddy, I want to do jiu-jitsu. Daddy, I want to do jiu-jitsu. But it's that influence of passion around the men around your life, man. That's amazing.
And it's cool too. Like I think jiu-jitsu is like showed them the importance of discipline.
Yeah.
Right. Because when you're a white belt, even at the kids level, you can get away with strength. You can kind of get away with fighting. You can get away with a lot of bad
just
technique.
being a crazier person.
A tough dude. Yep.
For sure.
And then you start to realize like that stuff doesn't work for that long.
Right.
You have to be disciplined. You got to be, you got to be steadfast with your approach, and you got to not worry about losing. Like all of that stuff's got to go away. I still struggle with that.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
I suck at losing. I still suck at losing. I wish I was better already. I don't even want to lose here, and that's horrible. Like you can't get better
if you don't lose.
If you don't lose here,
Yeah.
like this is where you're supposed to lose.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, I mean, the fact that he has those things, and so when he gets, if he gets beat at a tournament, he puts in so much work. Now he's like, I don't need to necessarily win.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything. Like he's at the place where like even tournaments to him don't necessarily mean anything.
For sure.
They were just a place for him to do more jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Against newer kids and
for sure.
Kids who are trying to win a little bit more and just seeing where he's at.
For sure.
I mean, I wish I had his maturity.
Me too, man. Because like when I was his age, even younger since I first met him, like I feel like going around my dad's friends or going around older figures, I'm like, shelled up, you know, I'm like only talking to the people I know.
Yep.
Like this guy comes way across, shakes my hand, asks me how I'm doing it, like a personable conversation.
Awesome.
Super respectful, and you read that right away.
That's a solid father figure, though.
Yeah,
straight up. Like if you don't have that sense of from your father, I don't think it does build naturally. That's something that you have to kind of train on your own. Yeah. And honestly, bro, like you've had that too, bro. It just you really have to be in your own comfort, and maybe that might be for your son. This place is that comfort.
I mean,
and it's cool, man. He's got such a good heart too.
Really,
like,
really,
he really does want the best. Like sometimes, like I had to watch myself because I was like, bro, I know what you're doing, man. I've been here at this age, bro. Like I know exactly what you're doing. He's like, Dad, I have no idea what you're talking about. Bro. I was like, I look at his phone, and be like, I'm about to catch this. He's not doing anything. Like he's really just talking to, he's always talking about his faith with kids. And in junior high, like, that stuff's not cool. Even as an adult, that stuff's not cool, man.
Seriously.
You know, that stuff is, you know, we're all tough jiu-jitsu guys and football guys, and it's not easy to talk about your faith, whatever it is. It's 100%, not easy.
Yeah.
And at 13 years old, it's really not easy.
No, man.
But, like, he's at that place, too, where, like, he doesn't really care about friends.
That's
I mean, he
awesome.
loves hanging out with me and his mom. Like, he would rather go camping and, you know, go fishing. You know, he's just he's an easier kid for sure.
He's a cool dude, man.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Well, I mean, I've heard the tenacity of your oldest, and then I've heard about your son. Who would you say is the nastiest out of the three as far as competitor wise?
Man, that's tough. I
Right.
mean, my son is very competitive.
For sure.
He's very, very competitive. Now, his sisters are the same. You know, everybody kind of has their own things that they're going through.
For sure.
My oldest kind of went through a phase of kind of depression and stuff, and she's just coming out of that. She, man, she's doing amazing. But she's obviously uber competitive. She's willing to go out there and get her, you know, face punched.
Right. Yeah.
But then, you know, I got my middle daughter. She's the first All-American at her college.
Right.
Female All-American.
Crazy.
And she's funny. She's never been a competitor. She's never been an athlete.
But an All-American.
But
That's
she got into high school and she said, I want the high school experience, so I'm going to do sports. So she got into volleyball, you know, and then she got into flag football.
Nice.
But then when the summer came, or the spring season, she's like, I'm either going to swim or go to track and field. Now, my daughter, she's not fat by any means, but she's a big girl. Like, she's a tank.
Right.
And I'm thinking in my head, then I never have forced my kids to do any sports.
For sure.
Just as long as they're doing something.
Yeah, of course.
But she came to me. I was like, I hope she doesn't say she wants to swim, because I'm not going to let her.
Right.
So sure enough, she came up to me the next day and she's like, I'm not going to go to track and field tryouts. I'm going to go be a swimmer. I said, Tatiana, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to swim. You're going to track and field, and that's the last I want to hear about it.
Right.
Freshman year, she goes to state, wins bronze.
Dang.
And
Where,
so-
from out here?
Yeah.
What high school did she go to?
She went to Silverado.
Silverado.
Man.
Wow.
Liberty, where the girls beating her.
I was about to say.
Yeah, them poly girls at Liberty are different.
Man, straight up.
They
man.
throw a little bit differently over there. They were recruiting my girl hard.
Oh, I bet.
They were recruiting
Especially
her
freshman
hard.
year, she got
Yeah.
bronze.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
But yeah, so now she's crazy competitive.
Right.
But when I first brought her in the gym, like next door, like I would like lift this, and she'd start lifting it, and I would just put more weight on, and it was like, she's not a dumb kid, she's got straight A's, but she was like, she didn't register that she's not supposed to be lifting this weight. Like, she's deadlifting in the, you know, mid 200s.
Man.
She is strong.
Man.
I mean, she's probably way stronger than me at this point.
I mean, a collegiate athlete.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's what she does in the morning. Then she goes to school. She's got a 4.0 grade average. And she's got 2 jobs.
And you said she's at
And
Montana right now.
She's in
right?
Montana right now.
That's
I think
Living
they
in
got
the
a great
snow.
track and field program over
Yeah.
there too. I know for a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the college I had went to, the track and field team was highly touted, and a lot of them went over to Montana. So she's part of
Yeah.
a great program over there for sure.
Yeah. And she loves it over there.
Way
I still
different
have to say,
temperatures.
I'd say the most. I'd still have to say my son is probably the most competitive.
Really?
But in an
Yeah.
unhealthy way, sometimes. like his dad. Like his dad.
It's the I'll give him a pass. It's like the youngest.
You think
Kind
so?
of,
Yeah.
you always got to live up to the oldest.
Yeah.
You have to, and you have to surpass it, or in your head you're like,
Yeah.
God, I suck.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, but being the older sibling, I never think that you really had to do that, because you were you're the most confident out of us three.
You have to be.
I never thought
Yeah.
you ever had a problem with that.
You
But
have
I
to.
mean, that makes sense
You
for
have
sure.
to. It's called a facade, my friend.
We got my ass for majority of our life looking at.
I mean, my girls, though, like between his mom and his 2 sisters, I was afraid that kid wasn't going to walk.
Right.
Like, they were constantly carrying him. And because they're older,
Right.
you know, they're kind of like moms to him.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So they're constantly babying him.
I
I'm
bet.
like, oh, so I'm super tough. I used to be like super tough on him. I don't really have to be super tough on him anymore. man.
Nice. It sounds like it.
He listens, you know, and he's quick to apologize too.
Yeah, awesome.
He's quick to apologize and hug you. He'll be like, "I'm sorry," and he'll hug you, and you're like, "How can you be
How
mad
can
at that?"
you? Yeah.
You know, my wife taught me that. She's like, anytime you're upset or whatever, if I just say, it's okay, and I hug you, I'll just disarm you.
Right.
And I'm like, you can't fight against a hug.
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
really can't.
Yeah, because all youngest siblings are definitely not like that.
But with your oldest daughter fighting, what are your nerves like going into that?
Oh yeah, man. See your child get into the war.
So it's weird because when she was doing it, we would throw mitts in the garage sometimes. I didn't train her. Somebody else trained her. But I'd help her, and she's my oldest, so she doesn't really want my help.
Right, of course. Of course.
But I was cool like the whole time. I was like, she's gonna be good. And but then when she walked out in that cage, just seeing your daughter out there in a cage, you're like, this is not okay. Like, I don't want to see her get punched.
Yeah, of course, man. That's tough.
The girl that she was fighting was like 4 inches taller than her.
Oh man.
And we knew that, so I told her, I said, you're gonna have to walk through some jabs, get
For
inside on her, go at her kidneys, and when you see that elbow drop down, just overhand right. That's the only time she ever listened to that.
They slept her.
Slept her. Oh, like 3 overhand rights back to back to back, like haymakers, and slept her. There was actually, poor girl, there was a camera like right here, so when I zoomed in, you could see like her eyes roll back, like she slept her.
Man.
And she's gonna go back to training. The only thing I don't like about it is that, unless you get a strap from the UFC,
Yeah.
This is a tough game, man.
For sure.
It's
For sure.
tough to do this. God bless any fighter, whether it's just jiu-jitsu or it's MMA or whatever it is. It is such a grind. I mean, I'm just a hobbyist, man. I come in here for a couple hours, a few days a week, and my body's sore.
Yeah.
Like you, when you're training constantly, all day, and then teaching, and then training again. It's a tough life.
Yeah,
and you're doing it for
1000%.
free.
Yeah.
And you're not doing it with any guarantees, because it doesn't matter how hard you train. It doesn't matter how good you are. That guy might have been better than you, trained hard,
Or just
whatever,
his night.
or it was his night.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fighting typically doesn't necessarily go to the better athlete a
Yeah.
lot of times.
Sometimes it's the luckiest.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
or especially when you put striking into it,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of add an element of. And don't get me wrong, obviously there's strikers out there that are very accurate with what they do. Israel Adesanya,
Yes.
Great
Yeah.
but
example.
there's also a lot of guys who have made a living off of. I mean, Mark Hunt made a living off of destroying dudes
1000%.
with one punch.
Yeah.
Derek Lewis.
Yes, sir.
There's dudes who have these dynamite in these hands who, they were getting whipped the whole fight.
Yeah.
And one punch, especially in heavyweight guys. And my daughters are not small.
Yeah.
They're island girls,
Right.
so they're strong girls.
Yeah.
Just
Hell
scrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. So, has there ever been like any crazy weight cut stories, or anything like that you or your family had to go through together?
Well, I mean, if you listen to half of his story about his family, it's all discipline. I bet you there is no problems with that.
So weight cutting is interesting to me. I'm not a fan of weight cutting.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's legalized cheating.
Yes.
I think it's very unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anybody encouraging, this is just my opinion, anybody encouraging their children to cut weight, I think you're dealing with some really young minds.
Mhm.
Yes.
That could go really south later on in life.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Let our children grow. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to ask how many gold medals you got when you were 10, 12,
Right.
13,
Nobody cares.
16. Nobody. I mean, look at, what's the guy right now? He used to have the cool wavy hair. He lost up until he was like 17 years old, never won a tournament. Gosh.
In jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, in
Is it
jiu-jitsu.
Mikey?
No, not him.
No, he's been waiting for years.
I was about to say. He's the only
I'll
one I
think
know
of
with
it.
wavy hair.
I'll think of it. He just fought recently too in the gi.
Nicholas?
No, he's man, I'll think of it in a second.
Okay.
But he fought. Actually, he did fight Gordon Ryan. I think Gordon Ryan was that night was when he said he was gonna do the triangle with like. That young. He was young. He's still in his young.
He's still
20s.
young. Yeah.
Still young. But when he was like 20, he was like ranked top 3 in the world.
Really?
And now here's a kid who had never won anything. His dad's a black belt. He's a professor. He had never won tournaments. Right. He just kept going back. Roberto.
Yes. Jimenez.
Yep. Roberto Jimenez.
Mm-hmm.
Never won anything. If you watch his story on Flow, never won anything growing up.
Man.
And then one day he's an adult and just
everything turned on.
You know, at the church we used to call it like bamboo. If you look at bamboo, it takes like years for a root system to work in bamboo. All the growth is happening behind the scenes. You're not seeing nothing.
For sure.
And then all of a sudden, this bamboo shoots out.
Crazy.
But it's been growing underneath this whole time. It's been building a foundation. It's been, paying attention to important things. That bamboo's never going to fall. It's going to be very strong. So
strongest substance out there for wood type.
Yeah, Roberto's like a certified Rasta now, man.
Yeah, he's going through some different phase right now.
For sure. He's walking around with that red, gold, and green like a shaggy sweater on, like he's straight from Jamaica, bro. Like,
that's hilarious.
No haircut, like. Yeah, he's going through a Rasta phase right now.
Yeah, that's dope.
But that's the cool thing too about like jiu-jitsu and just like fight sports. I think in general is once you start to understand like you're a pretty bad dude, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to admit, right, coach? Like you can take almost anybody who comes to you outside of this place, right? Like no problem, unless they're as trained or whatever. And I think it's a cool thing that brings apart out of you is that now you're free to kind of be yourself.
Just chill.
Yeah. You look at a guy like Mikey Musumeci, who's a very different human, and if he wasn't like the deadliest little guy on the planet, maybe he doesn't smile all the time, and he's not the Mikey that we all come to love.
Yeah.
True.
Because of that smile and stuff like that, more than his crazy, unbelievable fighting.
And his crazy diet, like he eats pizza every day.
Pizza every night.
Every day.
One time.
Literally.
That's crazy.
It's weird, bro. And he's like, what, 125?
Yeah, he's shredded.
Genetics, though, no?
Shredded.
Or
he does like 10 hours of jiu-jitsu a day.
Yeah.
Jeez, no.
And he's like, I don't eat anything all day long. He's just like, and he's smiling. He's like, I just drink a lot of caffeine, And he's like, I get to go home and eat like 3,000 calories of pizza.
Damn.
At
one sitting every day.
Yep.
And he sits
That
in
must
this little
be nice,
weird Mikey
dog.
squat, and he's just the coolest dude ever. And his sisters, went to school to be a lawyer. And she's another one,
man,
killer in the game too.
Yes.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And all those two do is just train together. But like if you listen to Mikey, he doesn't train against other competitors. He doesn't like it. He says he trains against hobbyists. He goes because they like to be here.
Right.
And he's like, I just don't like those vibes. I just like to fight with people who want to be here and they're just smiling and stuff. And it's weird. It's a cool, it's a cool thing you get to do when you're at that part of your life where you're like, hey, I'm
chilling.
I'm cool with who I am.
Yeah.
I love how you said that though. It just does bring you this sense of confidence. Like I don't have to worry about anything outside of this gym, and it's like anybody that's more badass than me is not gonna attack me. They're the most.
He's not up to that.
Way cooler than me.
Yep.
But there is also the opposite end of the spectrum, which you guys were talking about with Mikey too. Is like when you are the top dog, man, there are gonna be some fools out there that are gonna challenge you too. That's also the dangerous part of it.
Yeah, in your respective area at a certain time. It's not like at Walmart.
For sure.
Or when you're setting up a microphone.
Well, see, that's the thing too. Like, even with Mikey, that's the thing that makes jiu-jitsu so dangerous. At least for some of these other fighters or like martial artists, you could kind of tell. The only thing that people could tell that you do compete is if you have a cauliflower ear. Outside of that, if you look like Mikey, you really don't think that you could do much.
That's very true. Even if with his cauliflower ear, you're like, he's little, I can take him.
Right.
Yeah. And then
that would be my mistake.
A human pretzel.
I learned early on here not to size other people up.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
just take your lickings because they're coming. No matter what I got.
Yeah,
I will
sure.
also say this, man. Me and Professor James, we train at the same and compete at the same weight.
Oh.
And that man is a lot bigger than I
He's a
am.
tank, bro.
He is a
He is
tank.
a
Yes,
tank.
man. You can see
Professor
it,
James
man.
is an absolute
Yeah.
beast.
I never
bro.
seen somebody 160 that feels 300.
No,
He's
that dude-
160.
160,
Oh,
bro.
wow.
It's so funny. But to that point, coming in here, was it like a... were you aware about jiu-jitsu before you came in?
So I'm actually a black belt in the Marine Corps martial arts program.
Oh,
which
nice.
is very. Until I got to jiu-jitsu, I thought that meant something. It mean absolutely nothing. But the small amount of grappling we know is jiu-jitsu. So
Oh, I see.
I knew like your average arm bar,
Mm.
Right.
your regular arm bar, stuff like that. We do some striking, so we do a little bit of kickboxing, some jiu-jitsu. But really, it's like I'm gonna spray you in the face with this OC spray, with this pepper spray, and you're gonna do 1,000 push-ups, and you're gonna go through the water, and then we're gonna see if you can still have the heart to fight. Like
No.
it literally, that's all it is. That's you just learn that you can be put in some horrible places. I mean, I got hypothermia through training in San Diego Ocean in November, bro.
San Diego.
Yeah. And that, I mean, so we just train to the point where like you can't move anymore,
Right.
and now fight. You know, so we just learn how to do that. We're just scrapping still. When I came here, you see how you're like, man, and honestly, jiu-jitsu just, it forced me to look at me maybe for the first time in my life as an individual.
Right.
And I was getting tanked by all these adults here. And young Jacob comes up to
Freaking
me.
Jacob.
Oh, the guy you were telling me?
Freaking Jacob comes up to me. He's like, maybe just turned 13. I know he's a child. And he's like, would you like to roll, sir? So, this little guy, right? Unassuming. And in my head, I'm like, you're damn right, kid.
You're right.
I'm so sorry for what I'm about to do to you. But nothing is going right tonight, and I'm going to give it to you. You know?
Right.
And I felt bad that I was going to give it to him.
Right.
And I did not give it to him. This man, at the 3-minute mark, I did everything I could, and I was phenomenally stronger than him.
Right.
But I could do nothing to him, and I was absolutely gassed. And he looked back at the clock, and he looked me right in my eyes. He said, "You tired yet?" And I couldn't even answer him.
Oh, my
And
God.
he just went on to just destroy me. And I remember that night, I couldn't be honest with my wife. My wife asked me how it went, and I told her I got beat up by like a 16, 17-year-old kid.
He was 13.
I knew he wasn't 16, 17. But I had to, like that night I was laying in my bed, I was like, well, it's kind of like the Goggins thing. It's like, you either know in your heart,
Right.
I'm cool with being a bitch,
Right.
or I come back here and learn what this kid is doing.
Yeah.
And so Jacob is really the reason why I'm here, because he forced me, like, here's the fork in the road. Which one you taking? And then after that, you know, I mean, jiu-jitsu didn't change for me. I still keep getting beat up by everybody. But
Yeah.
now I knew, like, I'm learning what they know.
Right.
I'm going in this right direction.
Right.
I'm glad I was, you know, face to face with that decision immediately, and not get too far down the road and thinking, you know, like everything else in life where you can kind of disappear and think you're more. That's what I love about jiu-jitsu. There's no hiding here.
Yeah.
There's no hiding.
Yeah.
When you get out there on those mats,
You
doesn't
can get
matter which
exposed.
ones it is, you're going to be exposed.
Absolutely.
And really, you're going to be exposed to yourself. And I
Yeah.
think that's the hardest part,
Yeah,
right?
for
When you're on
sure.
the bottom of a bigger man, just having his way with you,
And you're like, I
and
literally
you
can't
start
do it.
panicking, and like, I told Professor James, and I think I've talked to you about this, I've talked to Professor Mitch, like for the first time in my life, and everybody's like, you're a combat veteran, bro. I'm like, I am struggling with fear right now and panic. Like, you know, and I asked Professor James, like, when does that go away? He's like, it doesn't. You just learn how to deal with it. And I'm like, I am not dealing well with this at all.
I
You know?
love that you said that, because it really becomes a point where it's like, you know what, today I didn't struggle as bad as I did yesterday.
that's what it is. That's what it is, man. My victories now are like, because I mean, I'm not saying anything, you know, about myself at where I'm at, where I think I should be.
Right.
I'm good in top position. I've got really good pressure.
Your bottom
you know,
game's
those
getting better,
things.
man.
But being on bottom is a very scary thing. And when, you know, I'm only 150 pounds.
Right.
So everybody's larger than me.
Right.
And when I'm on the bottom of somebody, that's when. So my victories are, I didn't freak out in that position. I learned how to get out of it, you know, recover my guard without, you know, panic tapping. Because I'll be the first to admit, man, I hate having to admit it, but it is what it is. I've panic tapped so many times, or like, take my arm, please.
Right.
So I don't have to. Yeah, just finish me, man. And I don't like saying that, but it happens, and it's learning that. Like, that's a process
for sure.
That's been difficult. It's been horrible. It's been horrible, but it's worth it.
Right.
It's worth it.
It's funny because people come up to me and like, hey, have you been working with Ryan? Because he's been doing a lot of foot locks lately. I'm like, no, I haven't. That's just him.
I've just learned with like bigger guys.
That's
like,
what's up, man.
The feet and the back.
Yeah.
That's the weakness.
Yep.
That's the weakness.
Which makes sense. Which makes total sense. Well, I mean, I've explained on this podcast my experience here.
He got to roll. His first roll was Big J.
Oh,
that's the explanation itself.
Yeah, 1,000%. And that's I keep saying it, like, I really do as a Polynesian. I pride myself in my strength. I'm a pretty strong dude, but there's nothing worse than being cradled by a bigger man and then him laughing at your face. He laughed at my face.
He got up to laugh.
Yeah, man. That's Big J.
Notorious laugher.
Everybody's been laughed at. Big J's been on top of that.
That made me feel so. Like,
he's like, hey, look at this.
Yeah, he calls out somebody else.
He's talking to other people. Yeah. I'm on the bottom of him. No.
You asshole.
There was another black belt that he was rolling with, and he was conversating with that guy while he was rolling with me. I'm like, man,
it's so funny, man. It's crazy.
But it's funny that you talked about the exposing, because it's so true. You expose yourself here so much. Like my brother asked me. We're not gonna go too far into the situation on the podcast, but there was a situation that happened, and after he just kept asking me, "You cool, man? Are you cool?" And I told him, like, man, if I wasn't cool with and able to handle the situation, I would be living a lie. You know, like, this is my job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I couldn't handle myself and I just shrivel up or whatever it is, it's like I'd be living a lie this whole time.
Well, I think it's much deeper than that, too, because, like, we were talking about, and you guys don't know that version of him, but knowing you from what you've been at the past, like, we've always been reactive. Something happens, we've always reacted to it. And to see you being as trained as you are, and knowing as an older brother, like, here his mouth goes, I'm going to have to check him too and make sure that he's calm and chill. But it was literally nothing. Yeah. And I was like, I kept, like he said, I kept checking on him, like, hey, bro, you good? You good? And he's like, bro, I'm fine. In my head, I can't even process that because that's never been you.
It's because he's a real martial artist.
Yeah,
right? That's what a real martial artist is.
Right.
Have you guys seen Jason Wilson?
Jason Wilson.
He's an African American gentleman.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he trains all these boys.
Amazing
yes.
Amazing dude. But he was talking about, you know, and it's a proverb, but just being in control of your own city.
Yes.
Being in charge of your emotions.
Yeah.
And I think that's what jiu-jitsu does, right? Because at first we are emotional. White belts, blue belts like myself, we're still emotional, man. We're still scrapping. But when you get past that, you're not emotional anymore. And then it's just confidence too, because like I've been here 7 times a night, 6 days a week.
Yeah, man.
Like I have literally, like, you have fought more than anybody that you could probably find, right? You could look, you could grab 100 people out there and like, even those 100 people won't have the amount of fights that you have,
right.
And why you can be confident in your discipline, and not have to.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like that's how you do feel around people that do have a zen of confidence within themselves, even if they're not competing. People that are just comfortable within themselves, bro. You see that a lot. Like, man, I wish I could be you.
For sure.
For real.
For sure.
Yeah, big time. But now I would really like, because this guy is a huge Adesanya fan.
Yeah, for sure.
I really want to get your take on the last fight.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So Izzy versus Alex Pereira 3. What were your anticipations of the fight? Did you think that?
I was so scared because I'm such an Izzy fan, and like obviously I'm not an MMA guy or anything like that, but losing in big tournaments, you know, been at Masters Worlds where there's, you know, thousands of people there and getting choked out in front of everybody, like I know on a very small scale what that feeling feels like. And I felt like the boogeyman who beat him twice comes and he was schooling that dude the entire fight.
Yes.
and then it happens in the same fashion. And what I love about Israel Adesanya today, what I disliked about him in the beginning was because I took it for arrogance. I took him like he was cocky.
Yes.
And he might be a bit of cocky, but his mindset is different. His mindset is so different. So I knew if somebody can come back, right? Because I think that being beat the same way 3 times by a dude, like this dude came out of your guys' sport, came to your sport.
They made all those memes like Adesanya's gonna do something else and Pereira's gonna follow him.
And I'm like, oh man, and I think that would have crippled anybody. Anybody.
You seen Goto happen too?
Yes, I was
Ronda.
like, this can't be the end. Ronda,
BJ Penn.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you're that good, like some of those guys, we forget. Like some of these guys in fights were similar to, you know, like your Michael Jordans maybe in college who were always good. They didn't lose. You know, Kobe Bryant wasn't losing. You know, Kevin Garnett wasn't losing. You know, so like BJ Penn probably wasn't losing that much. Like there are people who do this fight scene, and everybody loses, but there are some people who don't lose often. Like Jacob and Noah don't lose often, right? They don't. You know, they just started tasting a little bit of defeat recently, being up in the bigger pond, right? Being up with the big boys,
for sure.
But with kids, like they didn't know what losing felt like, maybe in the beginning. But so we forget that. But yeah, man, Israel Adesanya, his mindset, his mentality is just different. Yeah, and man, I thought that was amazing. How I think he's telling the truth, and I think he's not telling the whole truth. I think Pereira was lighting up that front leg again.
Yes,
and I don't think Izzy was making out of that round.
No, he was not. You know, and then when he started getting corralled and Alex had him against the fences,
I was like,
again? Yes,
I did too. Yes, I wasn't paying attention. I was being emotional.
And just like BJ Penn, like he lost 3 times in a row to GSP, and the third time, like this is the one. And then as soon as he took him down to the ground, like, come on, Uncle, get up. But see,
sorry, Uncle.
I felt that with Izzy. Then when he came with that overhand, I was like, oh my God, here we go.
Man,
finished him,
and he finished him for sure.
Sir.
Right, like he was sleeping. Pereira was sleeping for a minute,
and before he even hit the canvas, he was out. He was out. You could already tell he was out. Who do you think that Izzy should be competing against next?
Yeah, who's the obviously he's gonna get just a whatever guy in my opinion, but who's the next guy that's gonna actually challenge him?
Do you think he waits for just Dricus Duplessis? Is that the guy that's fighting Robert Whittaker, the South African?
Yes.
Do you think that he's gonna wait for him, or do you think he's gonna?
Might. I think it's a good chance that what's his name that beat him at light heavy, I think. Might come down to fighting. He said that is a possibility.
Because Jan ain't doing nothing in light heavyweight anymore.
Yeah, and Jan is a beast.
But he's a huge big guy. I think that it would be better for him to go heavyweight. I would think
he's huge.
Oh, here's the other thing though, because my other favorite fighter, all my favorite fighters, my 2 favorite fighters are both Nigerian. Nice. Because I like Kamaru Usman too.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He might. Izzy might look at that because that was always a thing where they wanted one to move up and one to move down for another belt because those guys had cleaned out their division.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That would be tough to see him in that division because that division is stacked.
Here's the thing. I think anybody who was going to beat Israel Adesanya just got knocked out.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody that's going to beat him.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't see Robert Whittaker chancing him.
And they're not going to be fun fights either because Izzy knows that. And so he's like, I'm not going to put myself out here for these guys. These guys are not better than me.
For sure.
You know? And he's smart.
Yeah.
He's smart to do so.
1,000%. On the opposite end of the spectrum, how do you think Alex Pereira does in light heavyweight?
I think
he cleans house.
You think so?
I think he cleans house.
I think that's where he needs to be. I think he's so much more powerful up there because he doesn't have to do this horrible weight cut.
True.
His weight cut is one of the biggest in the sport.
Yeah, for sure.
They say he walks around like 215.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan did say, he was like, that is absolutely legalized cheating. He's like, he does not belong down here.
1,000%. 1,000%.
That's why he could get whooped the whole time and still hit Izzy so clean.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know?
Hands of
land
stone.
bombs.
Yeah.
He's lands. He doesn't even look like it's heavy. He's heavy-handed until you watch it in real
Mhm.
life, and then you hear how hard
The
he's
crack.
hitting.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, bro!
And that guy is so scary, bro.
Oh my
That guy
god.
is so scary.
Oh my god. He's
he has a stoic face.
He
Yes.
reminds me of like an apocalypto type of dude.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
bro.
Like he looked like he was in that movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He was on top of that picture.
You definitely know your stuff, in my book at least.
Thank you.
Who do you think is the next guy you're looking for? Or the next guy to
like
come
like
up?
superstar or
Superstar.
Yeah.
Like the next guy to lead the company.
You know, who was it that just fought Makachev? And I believe won.
Oh, yes. Volk.
Volk.
yeah,
So I know Volk is a champion already.
yeah, for sure.
But I think when everybody's seen that fight, they realize Volk is the real deal.
The real deal.
So
he won.
because
Yeah, I was about to say,
do
you
won.
think
he
he won?
absolutely
Yeah.
won.
I think he won
absolutely
too, bro.
I think they're riding the wrong horse. Honestly, I think.
Well, he just looks a lot bigger, so I think
Yeah.
size kind of had a lot to do with it too.
But he's a killer.
He's a
and
dog.
he doesn't stop. That's it. He's an absolute dog. He
And
does not
Maxi
stop.
Boy is like the pride and joy of Hawaii, and we had to watch him get dismantled this last one. The first two, I thought Maxi probably pulled him off,
Mhm.
but then this last one,
And another.
well,
I love the Volk pick.
to go back to the Alex conversation. That division used to, back in the day, that was like the pride and joy of the UFC. Everybody knew every light heavyweight, and now that Alex is going up there, is there anybody else that you might be excited for? They have some pretty big names coming up in that division now.
They
Yeah.
do. They've got some dogs there too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Honestly, Jan is a dog.
Yes.
He is.
Yes.
But
I don't want to see
Jerry-
him move division.
But
No.
Jerry, I
Yes.
can't wait to see Jerry
Yes.
and Alex, bro. That would be the fight of the year.
But Ian is fighting somebody. I forgot who they just signed him to. He's supposed to fight in a couple.
Hey, he's gonna fight the
events.
dude that he vacated the title for. You're talking about Jerry, right?
Ian Jerry, is that his name?
No, Jerry
Or is it Ian?
Prohashka.
No, I'm thinking Ian Gary, the Irish.
Oh
fighter.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
no, Jerry Prohashka.
Yeah.
He
That's right. But then wait, who's the champ right now? Is
I forgot
Hill.
his- Yeah,
Yeah,
Jamal
Jamal
Hill.
Hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're
Jamal
gonna.
Hill.
That's the next one.
Yeah.
That's right. You know what? I think Jamal Hill. So I
Sweet
think
dreams.
I think Jamal Hill has been terribly underrated.
Yes.
Terribly.
Well, he has that
underrated.
dad bod that kind of just like he's not gonna be the
But
real champ, but he goes up there.
He's a dog too.
Yeah. I'm excited for that division, man. The division
Yeah.
really stacking up with Carlos Oberg too. There's another fighter that I'm missing.
What's
man.
going on with John Jones?
That's what I was just gonna ask you. What do you
Yeah,
think is next for him?
I don't know, man. Like I'm not a big John Jones fan.
Really?
I
As
understand.
as a human.
I
Oh,
understand.
as a human.
Yeah,
Amen.
I understand.
But I'm obviously an amazing fan of his ability to do what he wants against other elite people. Like, I was never a big Daniel Cormier fan either.
Yeah.
But Cormier is,
The top of the top.
yes. And he, PEDs and stuff, like that could be a whole nother podcast because
For sure.
I don't care how big your belly is. Everybody, like a lot of those people are on something,
Yeah.
right?
1000%.
But John Jones is like the most athletic. Like John Jones probably should be playing football or something. Like he's very athletic. Like typically fighters, like
that.
Professor James used to say, like kids don't come in here because they're athletes.
Yeah.
Kids come in here because they're not athletes.
They
They
train.
don't know how to throw a baseball. They don't know how to catch a football. So
Right.
they come in here because their parents want them to do something physical,
Of
and they
course.
learn how to fight.
Of course.
But John Jones, you have those guys that are super athletic, and John Jones seems that he can do, anything he wants, and he
Anything.
looks like he can do it at this weight too.
Oh my God, he looked amazing. Well, I mean, technically, I believe he should still be undefeated. He only has that one loss
Yeah.
to Hamill.
He's like the Green Lantern, man. Like
Yeah.
he can think of anything, bro, and it'll just happen.
Yeah,
I
Green
feel like he don't
Lantern.
really train. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
like he can, like I heard somebody was doing this spinning back kick. Let me just try it. Boom, knockout.
yeah, straight up.
I'm for
Straight
sure,
up.
man. Like, obviously, like he trains, probably gets stronger and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like he is one of those guys who he watches a fight and he's like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, he goes out and bolos on day one. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He's so athletic.
He's like the
so
MJ of the
athletic.
sport, and Adesanyo's like the Kobe of the sport.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know. I
Kinda
think
see
he's
that.
more jokey. He may be the Shaq,
Yeah.
dominant and funny.
Fair enough. Yeah, he might be the Shaq.
Yeah, and then I think MJ fits because they say MJ was a jerk off the court, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe MJ does fit.
Do you pay attention to any of the other fight organizations, like one
I
or?
do.
Did you guys hear
Yeah.
about one championship might be signing Francis Ngannou?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, they're trying to suit him up with a fat contract.
And
It's not
some-
what he's asking for, but
I'm just gonna fight a bunch of dudes
I
from
know.
Singapore.
well, what's his name? I forgot the champ there, but the one that beat Brendan Vera, he's a beast too. He's like a god in his country.
Oh, okay.
Like nobody came out of his country. I forget his
There's-
name.
There's a good chance that they're gonna have, like, obviously, a lot of the big MMA fighters. Maybe not all of them are coming to the UFC,
Yeah.
right? But the one is really big. It is 3 times the size, 4 times the size of the UFC.
Mhm.
Yes.
So he's gonna run into some people,
Yes.
and none of us really know how good he really is.
No.
And that's
He'll get
that's
tested
the
there.
thing that I want to see. Like, I wish he wouldn't have left. I would love to see a fight between Francis Ngannou and John Jones.
Oh,
yes.
I mean,
I think it's, unfortunately for Francis, I still think it's going to be one-sided. I think John
think
Jones
so.
on the ground is just way too dangerous at the heavyweight level. Everybody's used to the big bombs, but like once John Jones gets his hands on you, it's going to be a difficult time.
and John Jones still has those legs.
Yes.
And they're still very athletic. That he can
Yes.
kick the trash out of you.
Yeah.
He doesn't look. I was wondering, like, is he going to be a different fighter at heavyweight than he was at light
He looked
heavyweight?
the exact same, just with a
He
gut.
looked exactly. Yeah.
Yes,
He looked,
bro.
yeah. He just looked like an older man doing it, right? I mean,
It looked back. It looked like this was his one fight back, and everyone was like, "Man, of course you had the time off."
Right.
But
Yeah.
he looked amazing.
He
bro.
did.
He looked like someone was like,
amazing.
"Hey, wait here, I'm gonna call my uncle."
Yeah.
His uncle showed up.
Yeah.
That's what he looked like.
That's hilarious.
But
I-
crazy strength, bro. Crazy strength. To not take one punch in that fight is nuts.
Well, a lot of these fighters, especially like fighters like AJ McKee from Bellator, they've been alluding that they want to do a cross promotion. Do you think that will ever happen?
Hell no. Hell no. UFC is too tight on that money, man.
Yeah.
the UFC knows that it's running the empire right now. And until
Unfortunately.
something really challenges it, there's
Yeah.
no reason for the UFC to do anything.
Yeah. And it's sad because if you watch some of these one fights, I think some of these one fights are more entertaining than some of the UFC fights,
Like,
man.
bro.
They got some talent out there, bro.
And then it's like they're putting on jiu-jitsu matches, and it's not
Yes.
just any jiu-jitsu match. They're putting on some
big time, bro.
big names,
Yeah.
bro.
Yes.
Big
Rutolo
names.
is coming out.
Rutolos.
Yeah.
I mean, Galvao fought.
Yeah.
I mean, Mikey Musumeci.
Mhm.
I mean, Gordon Ryan signed with them.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. They
He's gonna
signed-
do jiu-jitsu with them,
Mhm.
and there's a good chance he might. I mean, there's always been talk about him going to MMA. He says
Yeah.
no, but you never know.
Oh,
Didn't
Gary Tony,
Buchecha?
another one.
Didn't Buchecha?
Yeah, Buchecha's with them.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
just doing straight
Buchecha's-
MMA now.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
undefeated right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a killer.
He's
He's
a
a ki-
killer. He's
Bro.
the one that put me on him
Bro.
years ago, man.
Bro, so let me tell you about when I see him, I'm always like, you know what, jiu-jitsu guys, every time you see them in person, they're not that big.
Yeah.
Like one of the most exciting guys right now.
You're right. That's so funny
It's
that you
so-
say that.
Always, bro.
Yeah.
Like
He looks
Fabricio
huge,
Andre
though.
is like the guy right now, one of the guys right now. He goes by Hokage. And when we see him in person, he's like 150 soaking wet, bro.
Ooh.
Tiny. This dude I'm talking about,
Oh.
Fabricio Andre.
oh.
Let me say, I met Buchecha in ADCC, shook his hand. This fool is a behemoth.
Yeah.
He's
I was gonna
huge.
say, is he not that big?
No,
He's
he's huge,
Bro,
bro.
he looks big.
Like his hand, like hugged my hand, bro. I was like, "Yes, Mister Sir."
You know who was like that too was Frank Mir. When I
Oh,
met him at a
yeah.
jiu-jitsu competition,
I
his
bet.
daughter
Yeah.
was competing.
Yeah.
Super nice dude. I went up to him. I was like, Frank, man, can I get your picture with you? And he was like, give me 1 second, bro. My daughter's about to fight, and I'll come back. I'll find you. And he walked me down. He found me to take a picture with
What
me.
a guy!
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
What a
Brandon
guy.
Moreno was the same way. I seen him at jiu-jitsu.
Oh,
And
yeah?
I was like, what's up, champ? Like, he just got the belt.
Yep.
At this time, he
Yep.
had just got the belt like 2 weeks before that. I was like, what's up, champ? And he was like, hey, how's it going? Hugs me. I'm like, what?
Hey, that's what's up.
I ran
man.
into him at this Walmart right here on
Oh,
Diamond.
really?
Did
Yeah,
you?
he first Kaylin shouts him out because she's like, dude, he has a retro Buzz Lightyear shirt on. It was like some retro shirt. I looked at it and I looked at it, I was, oh shit, it's Brandon Moreno. Like, what the heck?
He's another one of those guys, like, if you seen him dressed in like civilian clothes and stuff, you're like,
no way,
sure.
this
what
guy,
is this dude gonna
sure.
do to me?
Yeah,
For sure.
He's like, no, he's a killer.
Yeah, he's a killer.
He's a killer.
But he's another one though. Like he's a killer, but all he does is just smile.
Yeah.
all the time, bro.
I may not be champion today. Again, I don't know the rest.
And Frank Mir's, I think his daughter is signed with one championship too, right?
Really?
I don't know.
I
don't
believe
know.
so. I believe she just signed, and it might just be with grappling, but I'm pretty sure she's doing MMA.
I know the one we see him at tournaments where it's little though, right?
She's a girl. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's. I think that's his youngest.
Okay.
Because his oldest was like #1 in the country for wrestling. I
Oh,
think,
dang.
out here for a while. She's a dog, but he wrestled here in Vegas.
Yeah.
I think he went to
He's
Basic.
a really big man. Too.
Yeah.
I bet.
He's really big.
Yeah.
man.
Bet. I mean, seeing how big he was, and this is an old fight, but when I saw Brock Lesnar standing next to him, I'm like, oh damn, Brock's not that big.
Yeah.
Because Frank is a huge
Frank is a
dude,
really
man.
big- and I was talking to him and he said he's lost like 90 pounds since he was
Whoa.
fighting.
Man.
And he's a big
And he's
dude
still
now.
I gotta go to some of these tourneys with you, bro.
But not Buchecha, man. That dude is a literal behemoth, bro. I was like, God damn. Imagine taking a right hand from this guy.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez Louise.
Or we were trying to roll with that man.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
that'd be hell, bro.
All right, so jiu-jitsu, we talked about MMA real quick. Before we leave fighting, I want to talk about jiu-jitsu. We all, especially being a jiu-jitsu fanatic, you fall in love with people and their games.
Yeah.
Who's a guy you look up
Yes.
to or that you like to implement his game?
Or someone you follow very closely. You've named a lot of big names from Tom DeBlas to all these guys. Who's
Yeah.
the guy that you attach yourself to?
Most of those guys, I like watching them just because of the people, at least that they are on social media. I don't know any of those guys, but I would say, honestly, like the games that I look at and study is I get to watch Professor James on Flow Grappling, like, because the thing is like those other guys, like I can watch a lot of fights, and I watch a lot of jiu-jitsu.
Right.
It's not really anybody necessarily that I'm really attached to, except the people that I roll with.
Right.
You know, Professor John.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that he does that I think are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there's other people, like elite guys, doing that same type of stuff, but I get to feel it from him.
Right.
Different.
I get to, yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I really follow the guys at my gym, you know.
That's awesome.
Man, that is awesome.
That's
dude.
awesome.
That's a big one to pick up from for sure.
I mean, I like all of my, like even just thinking about attacking feet did come from, you know, Coach Matt.
Really? Oh,
And-
man. Don't say
Right,
that.
like he was the first one, and Professor Andre get me in some calf slicer sometimes and
Yeah.
stuff. But you were the first one that was, you know, going after my legs, and you feel that, and you feel how vulnerable a position it can be, and you're like, I really like that. You can't see that on,
Yeah.
you know, when you're watching tape. You can't
Right.
you can't see how vulnerable it feels.
Yeah.
But when a guy is, you know, knee barring you, you know, and he's got a good bite on that knee and you can't get it out, like it's, you know, but,
Trouble waters.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But then
love
like
it.
Professor Mitch, like he can move like a boa constrictor. And, like
like-
I know exactly where he's gonna go, and
For
there's
sure.
nothing I can do about it.
I still don't believe that fool, man. I need to see a birth certificate.
So let me ask you something. Do you plan on competing at any tournaments coming up soon?
I do,
For sure.
I'm gonna compete. You know, Lord willing, I'll compete at Worlds again this year.
Heck
Let's
yeah.
go.
I won nationals last year. I skipped
Yes,
Worlds
he
last
did.
year.
Man,
National
hell
champ
yeah,
right here,
dude,
bro.
That's crazy. And that's the thing,
you
too.
know.
It kind of irritates me about this whole podcast. You talked about all your kids and all their jujitsu stuff. We haven't even talked about yours yet, and you're just threw it out there like,
I'm telling
yeah,
you,
I
this
won
the
nationals
most humble
last year."
guy.
Crazy, man. Killer.
I'm telling you, it's like jujitsu. You know, my faith and jujitsu, and I think that's another reason why I love jujitsu so much is because I can see my faith in it. Like I can learn so much about my
Yeah.
faith in real time.
For sure.
That I think that's made me humble. Like, yeah, it's weird in jiu-jitsu because when I first, like, I never was a fighter or anything like that, so I'd never been on a podium. So I was like, this is gonna be cool. And my first tournament, I think I got silver, and I was like, man, when I win gold, and I knew I was gonna win gold sooner or later. I was like, it's probably gonna be amazing. And I won gold to a submission I had never done before because Professor James walked me through it as a white belt.
Man, that's cool.
And I did north-south Kimura on him and won. Never done it before because Professor James was such an amazing coach, like literally step by step. But when I won, I was like, I'm glad it's over.
Right.
I mean, those medals are in a drawer somewhere. Same with my son. His is, thrown in the back of his closet. It's just, and I truly dislike competing.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Literally the only reason why I compete for two reasons. One, because I don't like it, and I don't like it because of the way it makes me feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I love jiu-jitsu, so I love the the match. I don't like the way it makes me feel.
You're right.
And so that's why I keep doing it, because I know there's something for me there for sure.
For sure.
And I love that me and my son started jiu-jitsu on the same day.
Yes.
And so my son gets to see me lose.
Yeah.
And he gets to watch me handle myself. Because of course I'm there like, hey man, you don't smack the mats. In LA Open, I was winning. I should have won, but I went for a submission, which is fine. I ended up getting caught, getting choked out, lost, and I hit the mats. And in the media, I was like, oh, boy's gonna see that one, and he's gonna talk to me, and it's cool because we get to have that relationship where,
awesome.
like in real time, we're kind of exposed to each other too. So that's the reason why I keep competing, because if it helps him to see his dad, because he does, he loves me like crazy. I mean, he's like Velcro. I can't get that kid away from me. And I love that. It's like many me. But it's important, I think, for him to see me lose. I lost at Worlds. I was teary-eyed. My first loss at Worlds 2 years ago. I teared up. I felt bad. I got choked out in the first round. All of that build up. 71 in the division, and you're having dreams of 8 fights, and you lose a minute and a half into the first round because you tried a judo throw that you never tried before and got choked. It's like,
I remember he had competed IBJJF.
It was nationals. Yeah, it was nationals, and I just became a blue belt.
Yeah.
I lost in 45 seconds. My whole family's right there.
Yeah, and he was so disappointed when he came off. But I had to tell you, I don't even think we even talked about it, but dog, I was so proud of you. Like, even though it was only 45 seconds, that might have like felt like world ending. But like being as a older brother, and seeing all the struggles that you've been through, just to see you get on the mats, bro, that was inspiring. Dude, look, my son wants to do this thing because of you now. You know what I mean? Like, even those little L's, it meant the world to other people, dude.
Not to me.
Yeah,
I look that guy up still, and I'm like, man, I'll whoop this fool.
And you watch him. Yep, absolutely. But I love that too. I love I think, especially once I hit 40, I realized like I got to keep moving forward. Like I've got to keep growing, right? Because I've got tons of room to grow.
For sure.
So I love that about jiu-jitsu, is that it causes us to grow. So when we lose, we watch guys and like I've got something to aim for. And I might not find them again. We might not ever cross paths. We might be in different weight divisions and stuff, but it did still propel me forward.
Of course.
I mean, I remember my first blue belt match. There's a guy, Andy Lynn. If you're listening, Andy, what's up? He was my first blue belt match at lightweight. So I kept hearing like they might be taller. And Andy Lynn to me was like Yao Ming. Like, he sat down and grabbed my collar without even trying. He smoked me.
Oh,
he
man.
smoked me. But he was what got me into, like, I need to learn how to, pass this De La Riva. I need to learn how to stuff this leg. I need to know how to, get to the next step without allowing this guy. And had I not competed against him, I wouldn't necessarily felt that with anybody else. So.
Man, that's awesome, man.
It's so cliche, but you literally win or you learn. That's it.
Yeah. I've learned a lot. Like, actually, I would say I won nationals. I won gold at nationals on probably my worst jiu-jitsu in my short jiu-jitsu career.
Man.
To be honest,
Yeah.
And I've lost my last 2 matches. I lost in LA Open and I lost at the Phoenix Open, and I was seeded 1 in both of those tournaments, and I lost those probably doing my best jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Yeah, my guard game was amazing. I did exactly what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. I passed. I got to the top. I did all of those things, and just some missteps. And so yeah, it's weird. You know, like I didn't learn much from when I won nationals because, like I took that guy down. I got 2 points, and I'll be honest, I just wanted to win nationals. So I was like, I'm stronger than this dude.
Yeah,
he's not taking me down. Yeah. I had him down for a while, and I started getting tired. I started panicking. My wife was in the and like right on the gate, and she's seen it in my face. Like my wife's my best friend. So she was like, "Breathe, Ryan," and it wasn't like an encouraging breathe. It was like,
I see what's happening.
I was about to panic tap as soon as he got to me or something. Like I was starting to panic, and without somebody telling me to refocus and stuff. But yeah, I definitely won that fight simply because I was stronger than that guy for sure.
Right.
But it wasn't. I didn't beat him because of good jiu-jitsu.
You didn't get to show off your technique.
No, I didn't. Yeah, and you know what? It didn't even matter. Like honestly, like, and it's weird because I just wanted to win.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of in a spot where like winning is still important. Like I still want to win,
of course.
Right? But I will say, like LA Open, I was very happy with my performance.
For sure.
I typically can't say that in the past if I've lost something, but.
Yeah, and everybody told me too, like, bro, Ryan was dominating the whole fight.
I was.
I was like, man, and doesn't that feel cool though? Like the things you've been working on is working.
Yes. So I mean, that's probably been the biggest change. And like I said, it's only been a couple years. I'm still just a blue belt, but I fight less now and try to just work technique. Because the reality is especially right now, even guys that are been around as long as me, or even some of them a little bit shorter, they're bigger than me, it's just still difficult without the technique to do that. So if I just work on the technique, it'll come much easier for sure.
It'll come naturally.
Well, see, that's the thing is throughout this entire podcast, man, I have to tell you, man, you have genuinely lit a fire under my own self. Just hearing your stories and how inspirational you are. And my brother is not lying, man. You are genuinely the real Captain America.
The real Captain America.
If there's anything that you could give, if there's a lesson to be learned that you want to tell the next generation, whether it's in sports, whether it's just men growing up or those that are competing in jiu-jitsu, what would your message be to those?
To the kids, I tell them the same thing I tell my son. Like, I've learned like being popular, doing what everybody else is doing. Those are all the easy things.
For sure.
Being, first finding your faith, whatever that is.
Yes.
Having something bigger than you guiding you.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because if we're guiding ourselves, we can get into a lot of trouble.
For sure.
And then, finding a group of people who do share your same passions and your same drive and stuff like that, and hanging out with those kids.
Yes.
Yeah, and find something that you love, but find stuff also that teaches you discipline.
Yeah,
it's gonna challenge you.
Yeah, find something that challenges you. Find something. My biggest things are learning how to be an honorable man or woman, how to be loyal.
Yeah,
right, and how to be disciplined. Those things right there might not be the smartest person in the world, but you're gonna go very far with those things. And those traits are not handed out to a lot of people.
Not at all. And those are the ones that you have to learn through the grind.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Man.
Real quick, before we get out of here, I first off, again, I know we shouted him out a lot, but the moment I started a podcast, Professor James told me, you gotta talk to Ryan, man. You gotta have him on the podcast. That dude is the guy, man. You want to talk about me, Ryan? He said you need to go talk to Ryan. He's a real hero.
Man.
So shout out to him for sparking this for me to reach out to you in the first place.
Thank you, Professor.
Yes. Thank you for the good advice as always. But last thing I want to leave on is, what would you say to veterans about joining jiu-jitsu?
Man, that's something like as I go further, hopefully I could be a bigger part of that, in jiu-jitsu and getting jiu-jitsu to our veterans. If you're a veteran and you're struggling out there emotionally, you don't need to talk to somebody sitting behind a table. Right. You can go to war, 6 classes a day at any jiu-jitsu gym close to you, and go to war over and over again, and this time relive it in a manner where you can digest it too, right? Because when we're over there, we don't digest the things that we did, so they kind of pop up sporadically when we're not really ready.
For sure.
And we don't know how to handle that.
Right.
And so we try not to handle it until it becomes too much. But yeah, if you're a veteran, please, and then for anybody with veterans, and their family or friends or whatever, still we have a lot of veterans, committing suicide,
Yes.
losing, like we say, losing to their inner demons. And it's, I don't know what to do about it, but like something I taught my son early on, when you see somebody who's wearing, a Marine shirt or Army shirt or whatever, you don't have to do anything special. It's a thank you for your service. It goes so far with veterans.
I bet.
It's like gold for us.
Right.
That's really, I think, a lot of what we want. And then veterans, real quick, if you're listening, you need to talk about your shit.
Yeah, man.
You need to talk about your stuff.
For sure.
I love that.
Well, I don't want to just say it because you just said it, but man, genuinely, man, thank
Seriously.
you for your service, man.
Thank
You could tell, man, like this whole country was blessed that you were out at war for us, man. Like everything that you talked on, everything that you've inspired us here during this podcast. I'm blessed that you did make it through the war, so you could have sit down and have this type of conversation with us. Because man, it definitely changed my life for sure.
I've had goosebumps so many times in this
Oh my
conversation
gosh,
itself.
straight up.
I'm glad you guys said that, because I know, that this is something I'm supposed to be doing all the time, and I'm grateful for you guys to have a microphone and a podcast, and to be able to get this out there. Not so much for me, but somebody's gonna listen to this and get changed, man.
Yes, sir.
Somebody's going through a similar situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what better way to be guided than by Captain America himself?
Seriously.
Absolutely.
Seriously. So before we get out of here, is there anything you want to shout out? Social media,
any plugs or anything?
No, I'm not. You know what? I feel it's so funny, man. Like I try to share your guys' podcast on Instagram. So after this, you got to teach me how to do it, 'cause I can't support all my friends anymore because I don't know how to do it.
They always change the buttons.
But
yeah, that's true.
My biggest shout out, my wife Nani.
Yeah.
That's my best friend. She's at home right now. Go do your thing. She's always been like that. That's my number one fan. Bigger fan than my kids. Anything.
Blessed,
if I could be as good as my wife thinks I am, I would be really winning.
If we could be as good as our wives wish we could be.
No, but just saying, I'm so blessed to have met you here in the gym, man. Again, to me, you're an honorary Hawaiian, an honorary Polynesian, man.
Yes, sir.
This guy lives the life, and I thank you so much for coming on, my brother.
Thank you so much.
I know. I feel ashamed that I'm wearing slides and you got actual flip-flops on.
Plastic.
You're plastic.
But all right.
But thank you so much. Yeah, seriously, man. Like, I can't wait till I do come and join this gym. I just got to get my finances right. But, man, like, everybody in this building, man, like, has been so humble, has been so, have that loving energy about them. And
Absolutely.
like I said, man, you fit right in there with them, man. Like,
appreciate it.
I feel blessed just knowing you were just having this podcast,
That
man.
means they're doing their job with me then.
And you've been an amazing guest. I know we didn't get to dive as much as we wanted to and everything. So this podcast has an open seat policy for you,
Yes,
open mic
sir.
policy.
Yes, sir.
Whenever, we'd love to have you back on.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, my brother. Thank you,
so
man.
much.
Thank you.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother.
And this has been another installment of the Tough Block Podcast. We out.
We out.
Peace.
Appreciate you.